Hokage I'll become stronger when I'm fishing. Chapter 1-20. Chapter 1. Beginning fishing 8 Gates of Dunjia. Konoha Village, as the most prosperous village in the entire Naruto world. After several ninja wars, he still stands tall. As a Naruto world full of ninjas, except for Konoha Village, the order in other places is very chaotic. Once out of Konoha Village, there is a danger of death at any time. At the same time, next to the river in Konoha Village, Yagami Kangdu leaned on the reclining chair leisurely, holding a fishing rod in his hand, while the other end was fishing in the pond. There are a lot of fish in this area. Many Konoha villagers come to fish when they are free. It's just that they are trying to make ends meet, and they have a different attitude like Yagami Kangdu, who doesn't care whether they catch fish or not. Pedestrians just thought Yagami Aoto was a strange child, and they didn't think otherwise. After all, he was an orphan who lost his parents because of the war, and no one would criticize this aspect. Facing the sunshine of everyone, Yagami Kangdu certainly didn't care. Others fish to support their families, he fishes to improve his strength. Yagami Kangdu is not from the Naruto world at all. Half a year ago, a traffic accident caused him to travel to the world of Naruto. Fortunately, I came to Konoha Village, otherwise, I am afraid that the grass on the grave will not know how tall it is. Yagami Kangdu has also seen Hokage. He is not a die-hard, and he has some general understanding of the plot. Thinking of those terrifying enders in the final battle, they would burn the mountains and boil the sea at every turn. Ordinary people live in this world, and they are afraid every day. Yagami Kangdu's whole person is not well. It's enough to travel to the Naruto world, he is still an ordinary person without any talent. This is in the ninja world where the war is constantly chaotic, isn't it making yourself wait to die? But fortunately, when he knew that he was in Konoha Village and had the protection of his identity as an orphan after the war, he breathed a sigh of relief. At present, in the entire Naruto world, only Konoha Village is the safest, compared to the hidden village of Wuin, which is about to fall into the capital of Blood Fog, and the village of Urin, which has been used as a battlefield of various countries all the year round. This is probably the benefit of Yagami Kangdu's time travel. As for why Yagami Kangdu did not practice cultivation, he chose to fish instead. This is also because, when crossing, a golden finger is bound. Goldfinger is called the fishing system. As the name suggests, through fishing, Yagami Kangdu can obtain various rewards, blood limit, and other types of abilities such as taijutsu. If you want to fish, you need to use the medium of bait. Of course, the system is also very atmospheric. When binding the system, a novice gift bag was given, which contained a fishing rod and 100 bait. Therefore, Yagami Kangdu clearly reached the appropriate age, and did not enter the ninja school, and fished by the river every day. After 99 days of hard work, today is the 100th day of Yagami Kangdu fishing. Even though Iori Kangdu was fishing by the river, in fact, his fishing rod was in a special space developed by the system. The space is wrapped by special energy, other people can't see it, and can't fish, only Yagami Kangdu can. Ding! Congrats to the host who caught a month of ability training. 1 month of ability training, this is something that Yagami Kangdu often catches. In addition to these, there are various other types of things. Example, obtain 3 months of practice experience in the 8 Doors Dunjia, and, obtain 3 months of practice experience in White Eyes, and so on. Yes, the fishing system can increase the blood level limit in the way of training time, which also made Yagami Kangdu very excited at the beginning. It's just frustrating that when you open the bubbles that wrap the items for the first time, you need to accumulate 100 bubbles before you can open them. Fortunately, now is the last day of fishing. A bubble appeared on the bait, Yagami Kangdu flicked the hook, and the bubble suddenly fell into the storage space of the system. The 100th bubble is in hand. Fishing is over. Congratulations to the host, you have successfully fished for 100 days. The fishing objects have been saved in the storage space and can be opened at any time. Iori Kangdo's eyes suddenly lit up, and after 100 days of patience, he was finally going to cultivate a fruitful result today. Fortunately, Iori Kangdo was able to see what was in it every time he caught an object, otherwise he would have been so bored that he would have gone crazy. Yagami Kangdo immediately opened the system to store cruelty. The inside is full of transparent bubbles, which is exactly what Yagami Soto spent 100 days fishing. Seeing the dense rewards inside, Iori Kangdo said eagerly, "System, turn on all the bubbles." Boom. 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 One after another, the bubbles shattered and rang in the ears of Yagami Kangdo. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 130 months of 8-door Dunjia cultivation experience. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 100 months of experience in cultivation of the immortal human body. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 100 months of white-eyed cultivation experience. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained a physical skill promotion card X7. When all the bubbles were opened, Yagami Kangdo felt that his body had undergone earth-shaking changes. There is a feeling of swelling in the eyes, but there is no discomfort, and some thin bodies are starting to become strong. Not like a muscular man, but a lean body with lines. After 130 months of Baman Dunjia and 100 months of immortal body, Yagami Kangdo's strength, speed and other physical qualities have been improved in all aspects. In an instant, he changed from a weak ordinary person to an intensity comparable to the elite Jonin. In addition, the white eyes also enhance the 5 senses of Yagami Kangdo. Absolutely keen to predict the enemy's opportunities, with the super powerful physical technique of Baman Dunjia, it is simply complementary to each other. There is also such a terrifying recovery ability as the fairy body. To be honest, Yagami Kangdo doesn't even know how powerful he is now. After the abilities and training experience in the bubble were absorbed by Yagami Kangdo, his eyes fell on the Taiju promotion card. On the Taiju promotion card, the usage method and the effect after usage are marked. To put it simply, a promotion card can greatly improve the level of physical skills. Even, it can directly make the breakthrough of physical technique without bottleneck. Nima. This is a rare good thing. With 7 promotion cards, to what extent will the 8-door Dunjia be improved? You know, the morning is for the peacock and the tiger is for the night. First, there was Queen Kai. With a mortal attitude, he regretted the 10-tailed Zuli Uchiha Madara, and almost kicked out the finale, which shows the strength of the 8-door Dunjia. Chapter 2, Konoha Village Elite Joinin. The cultivation of Baman Dunjia is extremely demanding, and it is a little easy to get started, but it is as difficult as going to the sky if you want to advance. It took more than 20 years of practice for Mateday to make a small achievement, and Mateke has also cultivated from childhood to adulthood, and it has been like a day for decades. This is because their father and son have excellent perseverance, and their talents in physical arts are also good. Without any hesitation, the 8 gods Kangdo can use the promotion card in one go, improving the 8-door Dunjia. Ding! Congratulations to the host, the promotion is successful. 8 doors Dunjia, 6 doors, total 8 doors. Terrifying power swept through the whole body. Yagami Kangdo just opened the door, Biao Lianhua, and waved his fist, and there was a slight sonic boom in the air. It was still his lack of effort. 8-door Dunjia, it's really terrifying. System, summon the character attribute panel. Host, Yagami Kanto. Realm, Elite Shangnin. Special ability, Immortal Human Body, Level 6, Level 10. Blood Follower Limit, White Eyes, Level 7, Level 10. Teishu, 8 gates of Dunjia, 6 gates, 8 gates in total. Look at the realm level of the system. Yagami Kanto nodded in satisfaction. This time, it finally has the ability to protect itself. Have you heard? The Kingdom of Vortex was attacked 3 months ago and the entire army was destroyed. Now there is only a little girl named Vortex Kushina. Hey, the war is so cruel, it must be very sad for such a young child to witness this. Yeah, Someone has been sent to pick her up, and the last bloodline of the country of Vortex must not be cut off. The country of the Vortex is destroyed. Vortex Kushina. No one noticed Kangdu Yagami, who was fishing by the river. He frowned when he heard the conversation of the passers-by. In this way, Konoha is about 20 years old now. The country of the Vortex was destroyed, and the Vortex Kushina was 9 years old, and came to Konoha village to become a new generation of nine-tailed people Zuli. Ding dong, temporary task release. Save the Whirlpool Kushina, reward, 100 bait. The system prompt sounded suddenly, causing a smile on the corner of Yagami Kangdu's mouth. Even if there is no system task, Yagami Kangdu will definitely go. If he remembered correctly, the only Junin who went to perform the escort was that person. After sneaking out of Konoha village, according to the map route in memory over the years, Yagami Kangdu went straight to the only way to go to Konoha village from the country of Vortex. At the same time, in the dense forest, 3 teens, a 9-person Konoha ninja, were escorting a little girl with fiery red hair and an expressionless face. We will be able to reach the village in a little while, so everyone should be faster to avoid accidents. One of the leaders, Konoha Kamijin, reminded. The remaining 8 people didn't care very much. After leaving the most dangerous country of Vortex, and now approaching Konoha village, how could there be any risk? What's more, they have 1 Shangnin to lead the team, the remaining 3 Chunin, and 5 experienced Genin. If they are successfully attacked at the door of the house, they will just eat shit. Why is it raining? Suddenly, there was a light rain in the sky, and it fell through the dense forest, and the leader Konoha Kamijin suddenly felt that something was not right. Water escape water dragon wave. Almost at the same time, a jet of ultra-high pressure water sprayed down the surrounding trees, targeting Kushina, the vortex surrounded by the crowd. The speed is resolved, here is infinitely close to the periphery of Konoha village, this is our last chance. Behind the big tree, a ninja shrouded in black said. Too done too luby. Konoha Junin reacted quickly, and quickly summoned the Earth Escape ninjutsu to restrain the water dragon wave. Boom! There was a loud bang, the waves were surging, and the earth and rocks splashed. The remaining 8 Konoha ninjas quickly returned to their senses and wanted to fight back. It's just that when they were about to find the target and shoot the shuriken, they only felt a chill in their necks. In an instant, blood was sprayed, and the 5 men died suddenly. The 3 Chunin were able to escape the fatal blow, but one of them had blood dripping from his arm, and his fighting power was drastically reduced. 3 Chunin, really look down on us. Konoha's only Jonin frowned and sneered. Who sent you here? Aren't you afraid of angering Konoha and provoking a war between the 2 countries? Let's go, the person they want is me. Before the other party could answer, the fiery red-haired Vortex Kushina stood up. Witnessing the destruction of the entire country of Vortex, the closest family members and friends all fell in front of him, and Vortex Kushina has long lost the desire to live. No, there is only one bloodline left in the country of Vortex, and you must be guarded carefully. You guys, quickly leave with the Vortex Kushina, and I will block them. Remember, don't look back, when you reach the village, everything will be safe. Pulling the Vortex Kushina behind him, Konoha Kamino said in a low voice to the 3 Chunin who were already surrounding him. In the current situation, it is impossible to leave without making sacrifices. With a full 3-rank Jonin, in this luxurious lineup, he is the only one who can fight for a chance by dying. There's a lot of nonsense, just leave it all. The ninja on the opposite side, wrapped in black clothes, had no intention of showing mercy, and the shuriken kept shooting out. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There were sharp piercing sounds from all directions, and the figures of the 3 black-clothed Junin had disappeared. The 3 black-clothed Chunin rushed forward and strangled with the 3 Konoha Chunin. Ding 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 dong. A dense metal symphony resounded in all directions. Konoha Kamino shook his aching arm, and looked around vigilantly. It seemed that this group of men in black wanted to kill them all, but with the power of Konoha, who would dare to attack and kill here? I thought it was safe to be far away from the country of the vortex, and to be able to return to Konoha village in a short time. Unexpectedly, just as he relaxed his mind, he was attacked by the enemy. Water escape water prison technique. Suddenly, one of the disappeared Junin in black suddenly appeared on a tree branch not far away, and his hands quickly flipped the knots. The surrounding fine raindrops quickly condensed and rushed around Konoha Jonin, trying to trap him. The remaining 2 Junin in black appeared at the same time, approaching the vortex Kushina from both directions. You bastard, your opponent is me. Konoha Kami's eyes were splitting, and he used the Shunshu technique to escape from the unfinished water prison, blocking the vortex Kushina. PFF'd. There was a muffled sound, almost at the same time as he appeared. A shuriken was inserted into his abdomen, and blood kept pouring out. You. Konoha Kamijin took a few steps backwards, and only then did he realize that he cared about it and was deceived. Fang Kai's instant body technique was like hitting the enemy's shuriken. Originally, it was an absolute disadvantage. Now that the abdomen has been pierced, the strength of Konoha Junin has dropped sharply, and it is impossible to compete for a chance of survival. I don't know when, the 2 Junin in black have approached the side of the whirlpool Kushina. The shuriken held in his hand exuded a cold light, and quickly slashed through the vortex Kushina's throat. Chapter 3. 6 Gates of Peacock, 1 Punch and 1 Jonin. A cold light flashed, and the corners of Shinobi's mouth in black showed a coldness, and the shuriken was less than a few centimeters away from the neck of vortex Kushina. It's just at this moment that the movements of the black-clothed Junin completely stopped. His complexion suddenly changed greatly, and he lowered his head to find that a slender arm held his arm at an unknown time, making him unable to advance half a step no matter how hard he used it. It's all right, the immature voice sounded, and Yagami Kangdu smiled warmly at vortex Kushina. He is obviously only a half-old child about the same age as himself, but it gives people a sense of peace of mind. The vortex Kushina, who had already sprouted the will to die, suddenly widened his eyes, and the will to survive burned in his heart. Who are you? If you don't want to die, give it to me. The man in black, who was holding his arm, gave up the vortex Kushina as his goal, and swung his shuriken vigorously, trying to kill the kid beside him. Trash, die. The 8th god's Kangdu moved his body lightly, avoided the shuriken, opened the 6th gate. Jingmun, facing the peacock, his body was immediately wrapped in a massive amount of chakra, and a closing knife fell down. Ah! The black-clothed man let out a miserable scream. His wrist holding the shuriken was cut off by Keegan, and the pain nearly knocked him unconscious. The remaining black-clothed ninjas saw that their boss was injured, and immediately gave up the goal in front of him and came towards Yagami Kangdu. Yagami Kangdu remained motionless, punching with one hand. Boom boom boom. The rapid fist, rubbed against the air, burst into sparks, and bursts of sonic explosions came. The nameless black-clothed Chunin didn't have time to react, and immediately died on the spot. Everyone's chest was pierced, and no one could capture the fist of Yagami Kangdu that opened the peacock. Konoha Junin, who originally thought he was going to die, was stunned. He didn't expect that the person who saved him was actually a familiar face. Kangdu, why are you here? Konoha Junin suddenly blurted out in shock. It was seen by everyone that because of the death of his parents in battle, the orphaned Yagami Kangdu had something wrong with his brain. He stayed by the river all day fishing, and it was impossible for him to appear here. Rather, what was that just now? You're Shangnin. Only then did Konoha Shangnin react. Killing 5 black-clothed Chunin with one punch is definitely an ability that can only be possessed by the Shangnin level. Also, it won't be an ordinary Jonin. Uncle Ichiro, I'll talk about other things later. Now is not the time to reminisce. Yagami Kangdu smiled and looked around, meaning. Just after crossing, Yagami Kangdu has no relatives, let alone friends. Only his father's comrades in arms, Konoha Junin and Miura Ichiro have been helping him. This kindness will never be forgotten by Yagami Kangdu. Who is your excellency? Today's matter has nothing to do with you. Do you have to fight to the death? The black-clothed shinobi whose arm had been severed struggled, trying to break free from the big foot that Yagami Kanto stepped on his head. You live and die. You deserve it. Yagami Kangdu chuckled lightly, his feet exerting a little force. Boom. There was a crisp sound like a watermelon bursting, and the black-clothed Junin twitched all over, and then he died. Seeing that the eldest was crushed by a foot, the remaining two men in black were stunned. Water escape water dragon wave. Water escape water prison technique. One person chose to control Yagami Kangdu's actions. From what they observed just now, Yagami Kangdu's most powerful technique seemed to be taijutsu. Taijutsu ninjas are indeed much stronger than ninjutsu ninjas of the same level, but as long as they can control their actions, they are fish on a sticky board. Give me death. Seeing that Yagami Kangdu was successfully controlled by himself, Rin in black gave a cruel smile, performed the shuriken technique, and the shuriken in his hand couldn't wait to drink blood. Seeing that the technique of the water prison was successfully formed, and the Iori Kangdu was trapped in it, Shui Lungo also successfully shot the Iori Kangdu, and the shuriken of the black-clothed shinobi fell down with a grin. But suddenly, an arm protruded out of the water prison and grabbed directly on the shuriken. Crack! With a crisp sound, the fingers were slightly forced, and the shuriken actually shattered. Facing the sudden scene, the black-clothed Junin was terrified. Sweating profusely, he quickly pulled away and retreated, shouting in horror, "This is impossible, you! How can you break through the technique of ignoring the water prison?" Yagami Kangdu didn't bother to pay attention to him at all, his footsteps lightly stepped on the ground, and the technique of water prison disintegrated instantly. The Yagami Kangdu, who was clearly hit by the water dragon wave, was completely unscathed, and he caught up with the black-clothed Junin in an instant. Row! The man in black was terrified and begged for mercy, but before he could say the words of life, the whole throat was completely occupied by blood, and he couldn't speak at all. His chest was pierced and he fell in a pool of blood, looking like he couldn't survive. Miura Ichiro was stunned. He originally wanted to fight serious injuries and block the fatal blow for Yagami Kangta, but he never thought that the water in the water prison, which was enough to trap ordinary Jonin, would not work at all. Vortex Jushinai's eyes exploded with unprecedented light. Strong, really strong. The last one in black, Junin, looked around with an ugly face, and then ran away without hesitation. Water out. Taking advantage of the pattering rain around him, the black-clothed Junin immediately summoned a large amount of water and fled from all directions in an attempt to confuse the Yagami Kangdu. Unfortunately, he chose the wrong object. The eyes opened, and Yagami Kangdu immediately found the real black-clothed Junin according to the flow of chakra. Step lightly, muddy water splashes. The black-clothed Junin had just run 100 meters, and suddenly felt that something was not right. I only felt that the world in my eyes was spinning, and there was a headless corpse that was constantly spraying blood. The costume of the headless corpse was familiar, but he couldn't remember it for a while. Soon his world darkened, his head rolled to the ground, and was smashed into slag by Yagami Kangdu's foot. This was Yagami Kangdu's first murder, but there was no turbulence in his heart. The Naruto world is so cruel, it is not an exaggeration to say that life is like a must. Now that he has come to this world, Yagami Kangdu has naturally been relatively prepared. Are you all right? Yagami Soto asked when he returned to the Vortex Kushina and Miura Ichiro. Aodu, you. The shock in Miura Ichiro's eyes was not concealed at all. When did the skinny Yagami Kangdu in the past become so strong? One punch and one Junin, he is only 9 years old. This is no longer a genius, but a monster. Anyway, that's it. Yagami Kangdu shrugged. There were some things he couldn't explain. Even though Miura Ichiro is the person he trusts the most, there are too many magical abilities in this world, and reading memories is just an easy thing. He didn't have to keep a low profile, he just didn't want to be exposed to people prematurely. Chapter 4. Jiraiya's Shock. Okay, then I won't ask. Miura Ichiro saw that Yagami Aoto didn't want to answer, and didn't ask. Everyone should have their own secrets, secrets that cannot be told. Are you terrified? Yagami Kingdu took 2 steps forward and touched Jushinai's little head with a warm smile on his face. This is the first time he has seen a girl of the same age, with fiery red hair and a standard lowly appearance, but he doesn't have the impression of a violent girl. Thank you for saving me. Kushina didn't reject Yagami Kingdu's head-to-head killing, but nodded in thanks. Okay, go back to the village, it's not safe here. Yagami Kingdu smiled and led Vortex Kushina in front. Miura Ichiro led 2 chunin who were lucky enough to stay alive, followed behind Yagami Kanto, avoiding the normal road to go back to Konoha village, and chose the trail to go home. The enemy can frantically start outside Konoha village, who knows if there will be another attack. Yagami Kingdu is not invincible now. He is confident and capable of protecting himself, but he can't save Vortex Kushina and Miura Ichiro in front of the shadow-level powerhouse. As for the other Konoha ninjas who died, they could only inform the people in the village to clean up. At the same time, the 3rd generation of Sarutobi Hizen received news from Anbu that someone was not dead, and actually wanted to snipe the Vortex Kushina and his party outside Konoha village. In a fit of anger, he directly dispatched a proud disciple, Jiraiya. Although Jiraiya is not yet the legendary Sannin, he is also the mainstay of Konoha village. From his appearance, it can be seen how much Sarutobi Hizen cares about this attack. So, soon there were ninjas from Konoha village attacking. It's just that when Jiraiya rushed to the battle scene, looking at the devastated, the whole person fell into anger. A little girl, just a 9-year-old child, actually needs to dispatch 3 Junin and 3 Chunin to kill on a luxurious scale. It's not enough to destroy the entire country of Vortex, but to kill a child. Damn, don't let me investigate who did it, or I'll make them pay the price. Zillai was also angry. Thinking that Vortex Kushina was dead, he quickly dispatched a large number of ninjas to investigate clues and follow the clues. After checking and checking, he actually returned to Konoha village. It was only after inquiries that Ichiro Miura, who was in charge of escorting the Whirlpool Kushina, had returned. The mission was successfully completed, and Kushina was safe and sound. It is a pity that 5 Konoha genin, 3 Konoha chunin perished, and 2 chunin dragged their severely injured bodies back to the village, which was regarded as a lifesaver. It is a pity that the 2 of them were cut off an arm and a leg respectively, and they completely lost their qualifications to continue to be ninjas. There are all 3 joinin. Could it be that Hokage-sama has dispatched himself? Jiraiya was also puzzled. Soon, Jiraiya came to Miura Ichiro's residence. At this time, Yagami Soto was assisting Miura Ichiro in healing. I didn't expect you to hide so deeply, and I'm worried that if I'm gone one day, your hard days will come. Miura Ichiro laughed and joked, and there was some sadness and relief in his heart. The son of his brother, Ichiro Miura, grew up with Yagami Aoto as his own child. But he is Shangnin, the backbone of the village, who often needs to execute dangerous people, and is precarious. Therefore, I have always been worried about Yagami Kingdu's future life, and saved all the bonuses obtained from the task in case of emergency. Now that Iori Kingdu is so powerful, he can protect himself, and he is even able to kill Jonin-level powerhouses. Miura Ichiro finally let go of a burden in his heart. Don't worry, Uncle Ichiro, you protected me in the past, but from now on, let me protect you. Yagami Kanto is very grateful to Ichiro Miura. No matter in the past or this life, he was an orphan and never felt cared for. It was Miura Ichiro who gave him the support and let him grow up healthy. While Yagami Soto was still dressing Miura Ichiro's wound, there was a knock on the door of the residence. Dong dong dong. The 2 suddenly became alert, thinking that the enemy had actually chased inside Konoha, and the next second came Jiraiya's voice. Miura, are you there? I want to ask you something. The door was suddenly opened, and the door was full of silver hair, and the whole person seemed to be a bit sloppy. For Jiraiya's appearance, Yagami Kanto was not surprised. With the operation ability of Konoha Village, of course, many clues can be found soon. The enemy dispatched 3 Junin, and there was only one Miura Ichiro on their own side. Anyone would be curious if such a lineup could bring Vortex Kushina back. Who is this little brother? Miura Ichiro was Jiraiya's classmate at the same time, and he occasionally met Yagami Aoto, but his mental outlook was completely different from before, and it was difficult to be sure that it was the same person. In particular, with Jiraiya's strength, one can keenly perceive that Yagami Kangdu is very strong. Yagami Kangdu has just gained strength, and he can't control chakra precisely, so it is inevitable that there will be some fluctuations. As the middle of Konoha's new rise, Jiraiya, who will soon receive the title of the legendary Sannin, can of course see the clues. Iori Kangyu, my nephew. Miura Ichiro stood up and explained at the right time. Sure enough, it's your nephew. It's been a while since you haven't seen him. He's already grown into a handsome guy. He's completely different. Jiraiya also nodded immediately, but he had something to do, and said, I'm here, you must know what I'm here for. You should be able to deal with all 3 Joinin, right? Really? Hearing this, Miura Ichiro looked at Iori Kangyu proudly and said, of course it wasn't me, it was my nephew. If he hadn't arrived in time, I probably wouldn't have been able to return with Vortex Kushina. What? Jiraiya also blurted out in surprise, your nephew is already a Jonin. Can't help but be surprised. In the past, a child who only fished by the river and had nothing to do would be a Joinin. It's not just an ordinary Junin. The 3 Junin and the 5 Chunin were all killed by him. Miura Ichiro added. Zillai also suddenly felt a mess in the wind. He thought he was already a genius, but he didn't expect Yagami Kangdu to be so powerful. It seems that he is only 8 or 9 years old, and he has not gone through the systematic study of the ninja school. Joinin, tisk tisk. This is your bounty. I'll double it for you. You deserve it. Jiraiya took out a money bag from his bosom and put it on the table. It's just that his eyes never left Yagami Kangdu, with a green light that made people hairy. Let me recommend you to the ninja school. Jiraiya actually invited. Iori Kangdu was stunned for a moment. Recommend going to ninja school? What are you kidding? He is already a Jonin. Do you still want to play house with children? Chapter 5, Temporary Task Release. Be the first person in the class. Don't get me wrong. Zillai also saw Yagami Kangdu's expression on the idiot's face, and immediately understood the misunderstanding. He waved his hands and said, of course I don't mean to let you go to the ninja school to study with those little brats, but to go through the motions. Jiraiya is also right. If you want to become a ninja, you have to pass the graduation exam from the ninja school. After passing the test, you will enter your identity information, and you will be issued a guard, and there will be fixed benefits every month. There are many benefits to being involved in the village. Quote. Miura Ichiro nodded, and explained to Jiraiya along the way. Jiraiya nodded immediately, apparently agreeing with Miura Ichiro's words. That's fine, I'll join. Yagami Kangdu said reluctantly. After all, to survive in Konoha village, it sounds like the benefits are not bad, but there is no reason to refuse. Now that Miura Ichiro is injured again, he has no other way to make money. Officially joining the Konoha system, enjoying benefits, and being able to complete tasks and get bounties along the way, is not bad. Let's go, it's still early, I'll take you to report now. Zillai couldn't wait. Yagami Kangdu is very strong and can kill Shanjin. No matter what means he uses, his strength is definitely at the level of Shanjin. Such a person enters the school through his recommendation. Of course, there will be additional benefits. For example, the bonus he gets for introducing the talent will be able to continue his career in publishing the Intimacy Paradise comics. For the ninja school, the high-level recommendation of students to enter the school is not a new thing. For the huge Konoha village, it is also normal. But the problem is, this man was brought back by himself. Everyone knows that Jiraiya is also a sloppy person, and he personally recommends someone to enter the ninja school, so they can't help but pay attention. Who is this person? To be recommended by teacher Jiraiya, is it a relative of his family? It looks familiar. Ah yes, he is Yagami Kenta, the kid who likes to fish by the river. No, it doesn't mean that he has a normal talent and still has some problems with his brain. How could such a person be recommended by teacher Jiraiya to enter the ninja school? Many people whispered, apparently showing great interest in Yagami Kangdu, who had no sense of existence at all. Along the way, Yagami Kangdu didn't care about being looked at and looked around. This is the first time he has carefully felt the atmosphere of the Naruto world, and it is indeed more shocking than what he sees on TV. Will you be assigned a place to live in the future? Yagami Kangdu suddenly thought. With the way he cultivated, it was definitely not suitable for him to continue living with Miura Ichiro. The school won't provide you with a place to live, but I can apply with the 3-generation-old man to provide you with a place to live. However, it may be necessary to expose the incident that saved Kushina, is that okay? Jiraiya asked. That doesn't matter. The so-called wood show is in the forest, and the wind will destroy it, but Yagami Kangdu has confidence in his own strength, so there is no need to hide it. Hey, stop. As soon as he entered the school, Jiraiya also saw a familiar face on the playground and immediately shouted. Dan Kato, a friend of the 3 Jiraiya at the same time, is currently serving as a substitute teacher at the ninja school. Because Konoha's Junin is not too many, most of them need to go out to perform tasks, and sometimes let the elites who graduated to take the class temporarily. Kato Dan is one of them. People like Jiraiya, Orochimaru, Tsunade, etc., are sometimes sent to lead people. Jiraiya, why are you thinking of coming to school? Is there something wrong? Kato said. Iori Kangdu, I recommended him to enter the ninja school. Now that the course is over halfway through, let him enter your agent's class. Jiraiya also cut to the chase. It's fine, leave it to me. Kato nodded. Okay, Kangdo, let's follow him for the time being. He will be your teacher in the future. I'll go and get you the enrollment materials first. Zilai also finished his words and left. Just now, you just entered school today, so you probably don't have any foundation. We are going to hold a class-to-class battle. There are 2 little guys who are graduating. You can also absorb the experience. Uchiha Fuyu looked helpless. Yagami Kangdu smiled and didn't say much, and followed him to the playground. Looking around, it was full of familiar faces. Namikaze Minato, Uchiha Makoto, Naoshu and the 1st generation of the pig deer butterfly, as well as the 2 brothers with the iconic white-eyed Hyuga Risuri and Hyuga Hazu. If the guess is correct, in Kato's mouth, the 2 little guys who are about to graduate must be the 2 brothers of the Hyuga family. Hey, Brother Kangdu. At this moment, an exclamation sounded. It was only then that Iori Kangdu saw that the swirl Kushina with fiery red hair was also in the crowd, rushing over with surprise on his face, and threw himself directly into Iori Kangdu's arms. Kushina, why are you here? Yagami Kangdu was also a little surprised. 3 generations of grandfathers asked me to come here to study, so as not to encounter those things in the future. I have no ability to protect myself. Jushinai did not hide it. It turns out that the 2 of you know each other, and then you will have company. From now on, you and Kushina will be divided into a group, okay? Kangdu, Kato Dan asked. Yeah, Yagami Kangdu had no reason to refuse. It's great, I can go to school with Brother Kangdu in the future. Jushina was very happy, and the whole person rejoiced. Okay, classmates, let's get to know each other. Yagami Kangdu will be your classmate from now on. Soon, Kato Dan also introduced to the children in front of him. The children nodded in succession, some warmly welcomed, some silently, depending on the character. Introducing Yagami Kangdu, Kato said, then, let's continue our graduation experiment. Graduation test. Yagami Kangdu raised his eyebrows slightly. Kushina kept pulling Yagami Kangdu, and when he heard his muttering, he immediately explained, "If you want to graduate, you need to pass the class teacher's graduation experiment now. If you think you have enough strength, you can take the graduation test, and you can get the grade if you pass." To the corresponding ninja forehead. Yagami Kingdo immediately understood. Just like the basic test and the formal test, it is very easy to understand. The first to fight was naturally the trio of pigs, deer and butterflies. They are the youngest, and it is impossible to pass the experimental exam, that is, to go through the process and have a sense of participation. Among them, the most eye-catching ones are probably Minato Namikaze and the brothers Hyuga Hazu and Hyuga Hazu. However, the strongest among them is comparable to Chunin. Yagami Kingdo is not interested in this kind of family fight. Ding dong, the temporary task is released. Become the first person in Kato's class. The task reward is 100 bait. Chapter 6. The Damn Desire to Win. Hyuga Hazu to Namikaze Minato. Kato Duan announced. Others are almost learning from each other, and they must be very prominent when they meet their peers. But in the eyes of Junin Kato Dan, there is no place to stand out. "Teacher, I also want to take the test." Suddenly, Yagami Kingdo suddenly asked. "This, you haven't done systematic study yet. They are all people who have already cultivated chakra. Why don't you try again later?" Kato Duan was a little embarrassed. The presence of this ninja school's elites has already cultivated chakra every month, and it will never be able to match Yagami Kingdo. In addition, the children are not big, and if you are not careful, you may injure Yashin Kingdo. No matter how he gave it to himself, Dan Kato is still responsible. "It doesn't matter, it's mine if I get hurt." Yagami Kingdo shook his head indifferently. "Teacher, it's okay, Brother Kingdo is very strong." Vortex Kushina waved a small fist and echoed confidently. The classmates were immediately attracted by the movement here, and when they heard the words of Vortex Kushina, they laughed. "Iori Kingdo, I remember correctly, that kid who has been fishing by the river." People who have never practiced chakra are easy to get hurt by mistake. If they want to learn from each other in the future, we will always accompany them. "Yeah, don't worry, ninjutsu can't be practiced overnight, and there are plenty of opportunities to learn from each other." It's not that they look down on Kingdo Iori, they are really concerned. The ninjas present were all born from a wealthy family, with early wisdom, but also the innocence of children. They all know that Yagami Kingdo is a war orphan, with average talent, and has not cultivated since childhood. Boom. Yagami Kingdo smiled and didn't explain anything, just stretched out his hand to pinch his handprint, and the palm of his hand suddenly swayed with flames. Fire escape fire spell. The primary ninjutsu has limited lethality, but it also needs chakra to motivate. Everyone found out that Yagami Kingdo didn't know anything, and immediately became quiet. "So you have a foundation." Kato Duan was also surprised, but suddenly he wondered and didn't remind himself. "Since you have already cultivated chakra, it is not a problem to arrange for you to participate in the battle. Who among you is willing to come and practice with Kingdo?" Kato Dan asked while looking at the children. All come. Chu Daodingzhou, who was round and bulging, was only 6 years old, and his tonnage was close to that of an adult, raised his hand first. As the Chu Dao family, the attack power is average, and they are best at defense. Let Chu Daodingzhou and Yagami Kingdo learn from each other, and Kato Duan also thinks it is very suitable. Yagami Kingdo didn't say anything, and stepped forward to the center of the arena. "Be careful." Chu Daodingzhou took a bite of the chicken leg, reminded him, and suddenly turned into a rolling ball and charged towards Iori Kingdo. The soil and rocks splashed, but there was very little dust and smoke. It could be seen that Chu Daodingzhou kept his hand. Yagami Kingdo smiled and opened the door, looking at Lianhua. The whole body was suddenly wrapped in a faint red chakra, facing the behemoth Chu Daodingzhou, and gently swept out with a punch. Yagami Kingdo swore that he really didn't use much force. Ouch! But Chu Daodingzhou's offensive was instantly disintegrated, and he even screamed and flew out. He fell to the ground, rubbed his aching buttocks, and looked at Yagami Kangdu in disbelief. This time, the people around were stunned, wrapping Kato into it. Fuck, punch fight into sit, such a terrifying force. How can you be as strange as Tsunade-sensei? Could it be that Kangsheng is also a member of the Chinsho clan? Although Ding Zhao kept his hand, Kangdo didn't seem to use all his strength, he's so strong. Minato was excited. I thought that apart from the two Hinata brothers, he didn't have time to use his hands and feet today. Suddenly killing an Iori Kangdu, the strength seems to be outrageous. What everyone didn't know was that at this moment, in the heart of Minato Namikaze, he had already regarded Yagami Kangdu as his only opponent. Even the two brothers, Hyuga Hazu and Hyuga Hipsa, who are about to graduate, are not as important as Yagami Aoto in the hearts of Namikaze Minato. Kato Dan was shocked. He also didn't know what kind of little evildoer Jiraiya brought him. He was only 9 years old, and he spent his days fishing besides fishing. With civilian talent, can he be so strong without training? All of them were born from wealthy families and received high-intensity training since childhood. They were the elites among the elites. Oops, this should be the desire to win. Jia Teng turned his head back, and immediately saw the fighting spirit in Minato Namaifeng's eyes. Even though Aoto Yagami showed strong fighting power, Dan Kato still didn't think he could fight Minato Namikaze. If Zuludi and the two brothers Hyuga are considered geniuses, then Feng Xiaoman is the real evildoer. The speed of progress surpassed Sanin, and at the age of 9, he learned the technique of Flying Thunder God of the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobarama. I even heard that he has tried to change Fei Lei Shen to make him stronger. Such a talent, Kato Duan has seen such a person for so many years. Even the Uchiha clan, who has produced many talents, has to admit that Minato Namikaze's talent is unique. Chapter 7. It's too slow to fight one by one, let's play together. Who's next? Yagami Kangdu clapped his hands indifferently and looked around the crowd. All come. The three of them have always been one, and Chu Daoding Zuo was defeated, and Shan Zhonghai entered the field at a moment's notice. It's just that the Yamanaka clan is good at spiritual attacks, and even the combat power is not as good as Chu Daoding Zuo. Obviously, in a face-to-face encounter, Yamanaka Haiyi also flew, and landed firmly on Chu Daoding Zuo's belly, unscathed. Oh, you're so heavy, let me down. Chu Daoding Zuo struggled to get up with his chubby body. He was pressed down one by Yamanaka Hai, and immediately lay down again. Next, I'll do it. Now, seeing the power of the 8 gods Kangdu, no one underestimated it, all of them were full of fighting spirit, and their strength exploded. Nara Shikahisa, as the wise man among the 3 of the pigs, observed for a long time and found that the most powerful aspect of Yagami Soto was in physical skills. In addition to the basic fire escape fire book at the beginning, it seems that there are no other escape techniques. That being the case, as long as he restrained his body and attacked with a shuriken, he would definitely be able to defeat him. In order to honor the trio of pigs and butterflies, Nara Shikahisa went out after simulating a complete plan in his mind. No nonsense, just go up and throw the shuriken. Yagami Kangdu shook his body slightly, easily dodging the shuriken. At the same time, because of the shaking, the shadow in the sun seems to be stretched. Shadow mimicry. Nara Shikahisa saw this, shouted loudly, took a step forward, and the shadows of the two suddenly merged. Yagami Kanto suddenly felt that his body was out of control and was forced to synchronize with Nara Shikahisa's movements. Lost. The battle is over. Lu Ju is still so insidious. What do you know, this is called strategy, is it correct to go straight to the hard steel? When everyone saw this scene, they all shook their heads, realizing that Yagami Kangdu couldn't have a chance to come back. Now Nara Shikahisa has learned the shadow head neck binding technique, which is an advanced stage of the shadow imitation technique. Once the opponent is caught by the shadow imitation technique, there is almost no chance of a comeback. Unless, the strength gap is huge. But Minato Namikaze didn't think so, and his intuition told him that Yagami Kengta couldn't be defeated so easily. Admit defeat. I don't want to hurt you. At present, I haven't practiced the shadow head neck binding technique to the state where I can send and receive freely. Nara Shikahisa said confidently, looking at Yagami Sudo. Up to now, the battle situation is basically settled. He was confident that even if the strongest Namikaze Minato was controlled by her shadow imitation technique, he would not be able to break free in a short period of time, and there was only one way to go. Oh, is it? Iori Kengdu chuckled lightly, and chakra began to surge all over his body. The body begins to congeal and turn red, and the body begins to emit green energy. This is the last safe area of Baman Dunjia, and the third one is Shungmin Lilianwa. When Yagami Sudo's body just began to surge chakra, Nara Shikahisa's confident expression suddenly turned into shock. How is it possible? Even a master of the same level, even a slightly stronger person, Nara Shikahisa has the confidence to be trapped. Unless the strength gap between the two is huge, at least the gap between Chunin and Shengnin levels, or the opponent has a special bloodline limit and a special physique, otherwise it is impossible to break free. But the current state is obviously not the latter. Yagami Kengdu simply relied on physical skills, and actually forcibly pulled the shadow that was being controlled. Nara Shikahisa was originally a person who used magic to control, but his body was out of control and was forcibly pulled to Yagami Soto. In the incredible eyes of everyone, Yagami Aoto's shuriken was lightly placed on Nara Shikahisa's neck. From the beginning to the end, Yagami Kanto didn't move. Iori Kengdu, win. At the same time, Kato Duan suddenly announced. He is a joinin, and he sees more than others. At that moment, Iori Kengdu's surging chakra volume, and even his joinin, who was infinitely close to the elite level, felt extremely dangerous. It seems that if he faces Yagami Kengdu, he has no chance of winning. Impossible. Shaking his head, Kato Duan quickly eliminated this incredible thought. If he is not even an opponent, doesn't that mean that Yagami Kengdu has reached the elite level? A mere 9-year-old child likes to fish all day long, but hardly see any cultivating children. Kato didn't believe it and couldn't believe it. Teacher, next, is it our turn? Almost as soon as Kato Duan's voice fell, Hyuga Hazu stood up. It is almost certain to become a Hyuga clan. The head of the clan, Hyuga Hazu, has been trained according to the specifications of the patriarch since childhood. But he is only 10 years old at this moment, and he is not as calm as he is when he grows older. Watching Yagami Kengdu swept through the classmates, and even achieved what they couldn't do, a raging war ignited in his heart. One by one, it's too slow, let's go together. Unexpectedly, after Nara Shikaku was resolved, Yagami Soto suddenly spoke astonishingly. Chapter 8. Witness the birth of the demon. Are you looking down on us? The whole face was covered in clothes, and Shimi, the oil girl with a very low sense of presence, was not very happy. They are all wealthy elites, no doubt families, and even the mainstay of the entire Konoha village in the future. About the same age, it is enough to deal with other ordinary ninjas. For these elites, they actually want to challenge a group by themselves. This is simply a joke. Yeah, Kengdo, do you think about it again? Kato Dan also thought that Yagami Soto seemed to be a little swollen, and quickly swelled. The trio of Zuludi are the youngest and the weakest. Defeating them is enough to confirm that Yagami Kengdu's strength is strong enough. But the rest of the brothers, whether it's Hyuga Hazu, Hyuga Hiza, or Namikaze Minato, are all powerful beings who can challenge the trio of pigs, deer and butterflies. Coupled with an oil girl Shia who can control tiny insects to assist, Yagami Aoto's odds of winning are equal to none. Boom. The explanation is pale, and Yagami Kengdu used his strength to prove that what he said was true. With a loud bang, the ground where Yagami Kengdu was standing suddenly appeared spider web-like cracks, and earth and stones splashed. Before everyone could react, a fist came to Shimi, the oil girl. The wind suddenly passed, and the oily girl Zimi's goggles were blown away. her hair was messy, her clothes were open, and she was quite embarrassed. You. The oil girl Shimi was stunned. He never thought that such a situation would happen. He was controlling insects all the time, and he was always on guard against Yagami Kangdu. But just when the insect sensor was passed to him, Yagami Kangdu's punch was less than 1 centimeter away from his cheek. But apart from the strong wind blowing clothes and hair, it didn't cause any harm. Of course, it's not that Yagami Kangdu is a paper tiger, but that in addition to his powerful physical skills, he also shows precise control. I underestimated you, sorry. Shimi, the oil girl, shook her head with a wry smile, and stood beside Kato Duan. Those who failed to challenge Yagami Soto were all there. It seems that it is impossible for any of us to win the Yagami Kangdu alone, so let's go together. At this moment, Namikaze Minato, who was supposed to be the most outstanding and shining, walked into the center of the arena with a serious face and said. The only person who thought that he could compete with Yagami Kang in an even-handed manner was Namikaze Minato. But how do you know that the power of Yagami Kangdu greatly exceeded his expectations? Okay, although I know I can't beat it, I'm still very unwilling. I want to give it a try. Hyuga Hazu also stepped forward and said frankly. Now that the older brothers are all on, there is no reason for Hyuga Risuri to refuse. The three of them presented 3 directions and surrounded Yagami Kangdu in the center. At the same time, just as everyone was about to start, 2 figures appeared on the edge of the 2nd floor of the teaching building not far away. A man and a woman, about 20 years old. One of them looked sweet, but inexplicably made Kato Dan tremble. The other person had snake eyes and spitting out snake letters, giving people a gloomy feeling that he couldn't help trembling all over. They are naturally the future, along with Jiraiya, Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime, who are also known as the legendary Sannin. Knowing the strength of Yagami Kangdu from Jiraiya, the 2 of them couldn't help coming to watch. What kind of person can make Jiraiya, a sloppy person, unable to help but praise them in front of them? As that child Yagami Kangdu. It looks unremarkable, and there is no strong chakra fluctuation. Orochimaru was a little puzzled. Look, Jirai never talks nonsense. Tsunade-ji stretched her waist, resting her chin in her lazy hands, and looked towards the playground. Jiraiya also only said that Yagami Kangdu was very strong, but did not specify how strong he was. It seems that Iori Soto wants to challenge the 2 brothers of the Minato Namikaze and the Hinata clan alone. Is it a bit bigger? Tsunade Hime asked. The 3 of them are top seedlings. The 2 brothers of the Hinata family are already graduating from the ninja school. At the Chunin level, it seems that Yagami Kangta is not as worthy of attention as Jiraiya said. Orochimaru said. They are the strongest new generation at present, and their instructors are 3 generations of Hokage and Sarutobi Risen, and their strength is far superior to their peers. Even when they were about the same age as Yagami Kangdu, they couldn't do it at all, fighting 3 strong men of the same level alone. Defining Yagami Kangdu as a strong ninja is already overestimated in Orochimaru's view. Even Hatake Kakashi, who is known as the most talented Konoha in later generations, became a legend at the age of 12 for a long time. Therefore, Orochimaru is not optimistic about this battle, and even thinks that Yagami Kangdu has an expansive personality and is not a material that can be made. To put it in a bad way, even if I don't have an X number in my heart, going to the battlefield is also the life of artillery fire. Are you all ready? Kato Dan asked. Listening to the voice, he seemed very nervous. After all, he was only 16 or 17 years old. Witnessing the birth of a monster, he was indeed ignited with blood in his heart. Start. Yagami Soto and Namikaze Minato nodded. Almost at the same time, Kato Dan announced the start of the game. Chapter 9. Rolling Battle. Minato Namikaze disappeared in the blink of an eye, with an unpredictable figure. The 2 brothers, Hyuga Hazu and Hyuga Ripa, directly opened their eyes, and going up as the strongest move, Bagua Palm. The 2 brothers, one after the other, blocked almost all of Yagami Kangdu's retreat. There is no way to go back, you can only choose to welcome. The 8 gods Kangdu opened the third in an instant, and Shungmin Lilianhua, with an incredible angle, escaped the bagwazong of the 2 brothers. How is it possible? The expressions of the 2 Hyuga brothers suddenly changed greatly. Even with the assistance of Bayan, they did not succeed in capturing Yagami Kangdu's movements. Before they could return to their senses to fight back, a feeling like a light on their backs reached their hearts. Yagami Kangdu gently waved his fist. With a terrifying sonic boom, the hammer smashed into the back of Hyuga Hazu. Relying on the perfect 360% blind spot, Hyuga Hazu captured Yagami Kanto's movements this time. Before he could be delighted, he realized that he had no time to react, let alone avoid the fist of the 8 gods Kangyu. Pung! The imaginary giant force did not come, and Hyuga Hazu only felt a slight pain in the back, and the whole person flew out uncontrollably and fell out of the battle circle. At the same time, Hyuga Ripa had turned around, and the bagwazong broke out again, bullying him. I want to take advantage of the fact that Iori Kangdu's old power is just gone and the new power is not born, and he succeeds with one blow. However, Iori Kangdu turned around in the blink of an eye, his left foot kicked out quickly, and the last came first. Sunshang Richa Bagwazong hadn't approached Kangdu, the 8 gods, and the whole person also fell out of control uncontrollably. The whole set of actions is carried out in one go, without any sloppiness. The people outside were completely shocked. It seems like a long time has passed, but in fact it was just a moment. This little guy, the indifference in Orochimaru's eyes suddenly became extremely solemn. From the punches and kicks of Yagami Kangdu, he felt the unusually surging power and precise chakra control. For a moment, he even felt that he was facing a terrifying abyss and could devour himself at any time. How could this be? How could a 9-year-old child bring such a huge threat to himself? The children who were defeated by Yagami Kangdu were still a little unconvinced. Thinking about practicing hard in the future and trying to defeat Yagami Kangdu. But the scene in front of them directly condemned their wishful thinking. Quick, so quick. What a terrible speed and strength, is this really our peers? It's just crushing. Adults feel for children. When did the 2 Hyuga brothers become so weak? It's not that they are too weak, it's that Yagami Kangdu is too strong. Zuludi and others could see the shock in each other's eyes. The burning unwillingness in my heart immediately went out. If the situation is similar, maybe they can still try to catch up. But with such an outrageous level of strength, why bother asking for it? Yagami Kanto is too perverted. This is the consensus of everyone present, including Dan Kato. You're careless, the battle isn't over yet. Just when everyone was amazed, a slightly happy voice resounded through the playground. At this time, everyone discovered that from the beginning to the end, the figure of Namikaze Minato had not appeared. Could it be that? Is there any hope of defeating Yagami Kanto? All eyes were on the center of the battle, and the elites of the Konoha wealthy family who were defeated by Yagami Kangdu hoped that someone would be able to honor them. The ending was doomed to disappoint them. Minato Namikaze's delighted expression solidified on his face, and Iori Kangdu stood behind him at some point and kicked out. A staggering, Namikaze Minato fell to the ground, crying and laughing. I lost. Namikaze Minato thought his speed was fast enough, but he didn't expect Yagami Kanto's speed to be faster. Just for a moment, he thought he had succeeded, but it turned out to be just the afterimage of Yagami Kangdu. It's not a shadow clone, it's an afterimage that appears briefly when moving at an extreme speed. Being defeated in a proud field, Namikaze Minato is a bit decadent. For people of the same level, this gap is too huge, right? As for Yagami Kangdu, is it joinin'? No one dared to think about it. A 9-year-old master of the ninja, this is too outrageous. It's not wrong for you to lose, there's no need to put too much psychological burden on you. At this moment, a black shadow fell in the air. It was Orochimaru who was watching the battle from a distance. You are very strong, think about it, join our team, I will kick Jiraiya out. Orochimaru's expression was serious, not like a joke at all. The children around were stunned. What's the situation? Orochimaru actually invited Yagami Kanto to join their team. Whether it is Jiraiya, Tsunade, or Orochimaru, they are all strong at the level of Shangnin, and they are all elite Shangnin, and they are the strongest trio in the new generation. Doesn't this mean that Yagami Kengdu's strength has reached the elite level? What the hell? How terrifying. Tsunade took a step slower, and Orochimaru arrived after he had finished speaking. If he was heard by Jiraiya, he wouldn't fight with you. Tsunade looked at Orochimaru and said. Just kidding, why are you so serious? Orochimaru shrugged. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. So far so good. Fortunately, Yagami Kengdu is not a Shainjin. The 9-year-old Shainjin has completely broken through the limit of their imagination, right? Just before everyone could relax, Orochimaru made a surprising statement. However, if you can you learn from me? You are very strong, and I am very interested. Nani? 10,000 grass mud horses galloped past in the hearts of everyone. The dignified elite Joinin actually wants to challenge a 9-year-old child. Isn't this bullying the weak? That's abominable. The tall image of Orochimaru in the hearts of everyone suddenly collapsed. But when they thought that Yagami Kengdu would never agree, they were stunned again. Is it here? Yagami Kanto asked seriously. Yes. Orochimaru also nodded seriously. Hey. What's the situation? Everyone around them said hello in capital letters. Duan, it should be fine, right? To show respect, Orochimaru looked at Kato Duan and asked. Since Iori Soto has already nodded in agreement, Kato Dan certainly has no objection. And he also has an incredible guess, maybe, Iori Kengdu is really a Shangrin. Hurry up. Tsunade Haim looked at Yagami Kengdu and then at Orochimaru. What? You don't think he is my opponent? Orochimaru smiled. On the contrary, I don't think you can beat him. After you finish, I will also fight. Tsunade-ji nodded seriously. Iori Kengdu's expression froze immediately. What's the situation? This is about to become the two elites of the legendary Sannin. Is this going to hammer him? Chapter 10. Orochimaru wants to hammer Yagami Kengdu. I won't keep it. Hearing Tsunade Haim's words, Orochimaru smiled incredulously. Judging from the performance of the 8 gods Kengyu just now, it was already extremely close to the level of Shangnin. But even if he has reached the upper limit, Orochimaru has the confidence to win the battle. After all, he is still a 9-year-old child, so can he still be an elite Junin? Yagami Kengdu smiled, but did not answer, but waved his hand, indicating that he was ready for battle. When Takuya Kato announces the start of the battle. Boom. 5th, Duman Konoha whirlwind opened instantly. A sonic boom followed, and Yagami Kengdu instantly disappeared in place. So fast. Everything happened between lightning and flint. Orochimaru's confident expression froze on his face, and things exceeded his expectations. In the blink of an eye, Orochimaru felt a chill behind him and a strong sense of oppression. But it was Yagami Kengdu who performed the lower kick, wrapped in terrifying chakra, and slammed into Orochimaru's back. Ah! Orochimaru couldn't react, and screamed. The whole person was like a rag sack, and flew out and fell to the ground, with blood spilling from the corner of his mouth. Orochimaru was completely blinded, and couldn't react for a while. The classmates who were watching the battle around had their eyes rounded and stunned. When they heard that Orochimaru was going to challenge Yagami Kanto, I thought it was a one-sided crush. Orochimaru won the final victory, no need to think about it at all. A 9-year-old child, an elite Joinin who has performed S-level tasks, one of the strongest of the young Konoha generation. Comparing the two, the difference is clear at a glance. But they can't imagine how. The result was that Orochimaru was defeated, but was defeated by one move. Even if they couldn't capture the figure of Yagami Kengdu, Orochimaru, who was as strong as the elite Jonin, didn't even have time to react. Elite Jonin, that is the existence they look up to, the goal of chasing. Is it so easy to be hit by a peer, Yagami Kangdu, and vomit blood? It simply exceeded the limit of their imagination. At this moment, while they were shocked, they also had a hint of inner comfort. The eyes are no longer the surging fire of war, but the unprecedented worship. Stronger than the elites, they were all beaten in seconds, let alone them. Even Kato Duan was also caught in an unprecedented shock. Although with his eyesight, there is already a guess in his heart. However, after confirming that Yagami Kangdu really has the strength of Shang Nin, but he is not an ordinary Shang Nin, he still feels that his three views are broken. That is Orochimaru, the existence that ranks among the best in the elite. If anyone knew, he was shocked by a 9-year-old child in an instant, and I don't know how many people's jaws would drop. Duan Kato took a deep look at Kangdu Yagami, and he simulated the terrifying lower kick just now. Even if he prepares in advance, I am afraid it will be difficult to resist. This kid is more terrifying than he imagined. If it continues to grow at this speed, Konoha, who has the Yagami Kangdu in the future, will definitely be able to reproduce the glory and stand at the pinnacle of the ninja world. Cough cough cough. Orochimaru finally recovered and struggled to get up from the ground. Feeling the internal organs that were about to shift, panting and using chakra to quickly recover. Is this guy so ruthless? It's a shame he just wanted to keep it. In fact, Orochimaru didn't know that Yagami Kangdu had already withdrawn his strength at a critical time. It's just that he doesn't know how far the elite Junin's endurance limit is, which makes it seem a little trivial. It's a shame, let you look down on people. Tsunade-ji put her arms around her chest and looked at Orochimaru with a half-smile. From a normal point of view, if you want to defeat the elite Jonin level Orochimaru with one move, you need at least shadow level strength. Obviously, Yagami Kangdu is very strong, but not to that extent. In other words, the problem lies in Orochimaru itself. He underestimated the enemy. Thinking that Yagami Kangdu was just a 9-year-old child, Shangen's guess was already outrageous, but the facts were even more outrageous. It is very likely that Yagami Kangdu is not only a Junin, but also an elite Junin. Indeed, it was me who underestimated the enemy, and it was not wrong to lose. Orochimaru did not deny it and said frankly. Rubbing his aching lower back, Orochimaru said to Yagami Kangdu, "Really, after all, I'm also a disciple of the third-generation Hokage. I want to keep my hands, you don't give me any favors." Tsunade-ji glanced at Orochimaru. You think he didn't keep his hand? Orochimaru was slightly stunned, and he used chakra induction to find that there was no chakra erosion injury other than the flesh wound. It seems that you are stronger than I thought. Orochimaru looked solemn. Once again, this time, I'm not going to keep it. Orochimaru stepped forward and said to himself. Can't you afford to lose? Yagami Kangdu raised his eyebrows. No matter what the reason, losing is losing, and it feels a bit entangled. Uncle Snake, who despised everything in later generations, still has such a strong competitive spirit now. But even if Orochimaru wanted to continue fighting, Yagami Kanto had no idea. Just at this moment. Ding dong, temporary mission released. Defeat Orochimaru and Tsunade Haim, and reward 1000 bait. 1000 bait. Seeing the quest reward prompted by the system, Yagami Kangdu felt that his whole body was full of energy. Again, of course there is no problem. You are an elder, so you still have to give this face. Yagami Kangdu was very happy. Orochimaru made a thud in his heart, feeling a bad premonition running through his heart. But the recompetition was brought up by himself, and of course he couldn't go back on it. Hey! With a slight muffled sound, Orochimaru disappeared. Yagami Kangdu only felt that his whole body was bound in an invisible way, unable to move. Kato Duan raised his eyebrows slightly, and performed instant body fixation and instant body techniques. It seemed that Orochimaru really did his best. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Shadow snake limbs. Almost in the blink of an eye, Orochimaru didn't intend to give Yagami Kingdu any reaction time. Appearing on the underside of his ribs, he rushed out of the group of snakes from his cuff. Under the ribs, even if Yagami Kanto can detect it, it is very difficult to make defensive actions. A lot of things can happen in an instant. Orochimaru is confident that Yagami Kingdu may be able to break free from the immobilization technique, but he will definitely not be able to avoid the group of snakes that are close at hand. It was when the snake group was less than 10 centimeters away from Yagami Kingdu that he moved. With Duman and Konoha Whirlwind turned on, the effect of the immobilization technique was greatly weakened, causing Yagami Kingdu to turn slightly to avoid the snakes. Seeing that his fatal blow was dodged, the fighting spirit in Orochimaru's heart was even more surging. The figure suddenly disappeared again, and a large number of snakes appeared around. 2 giant snakes appeared out of thin air at the feet of Yagami Kingdu, trying to stalk the legs and achieve the purpose of restraint. Yagami Kingdu was surrounded by snakes and had nowhere to hide. Boom. Boom boom boom. Just when Orochimaru was about to launch the second wave of offensive, Yagami Kingdu suddenly violently bombarded the ground with his fists. The surging chakra wrapped his fist, and a bunch of snakes were killed on the spot with one punch, and the ground cracked, and it was about to be smashed to pieces. Just when everyone was shocked by this terrifying power, the immobilization technique collapsed, and the 8 gods Kingdu disappeared. Kato Duan's whole body suddenly got goosebumps, and he subconsciously shouted and reminded, "Be careful." Before he finished speaking, a strong wind swept through. Yagami Kingdu's whip leg stopped right next to Orochimaru's ear, and the strong wind ruffled Orochimaru's hair. It's the same as the previous oil girl Shimi. This is true in the face of Chunin, and the same is true in the face of elite Junin. Orochimaru was completely lost, but he didn't expect to use all the means, but he still lost the ability to resist. Chapter 11. Strong Duel, Baman Dunjia vs Tsunadeji Wily. Just before Orochimaru came out of the shock of the fiasco, Tsunade Haim entered. "It's up to me." As the words ended, Tsunadeji stared at Kingdu Iori with surging fighting intent. "Really want a wheel battle? I thought Tsunade was just joking, but I didn't expect it to be true." It doesn't matter to Yagami Kingdu. After all, there are still tasks to be completed. What he didn't know was that Tsunade Haim's blood was boiling with the terrifying power explained by physique from beginning to end. The strongest ultimate move she cultivates is strange power, and it is not easy to endure when encountering the same type of powerhouse. You can't treat him as an ordinary child, it's outrageous. Orochimaru reminded aside. If it wasn't for his thick skin, he would have wanted to burrow into the soil at this moment. Losing a mere 9-year-old child is simply shameless. But Orochimaru was ashamed, but not discouraged. On the contrary, he felt very happy. It is a good thing that Konoha can give birth to such a strong man. At this time, Uncle Snake still had love for Konoha. I know, with Orochimaru's experience first, Tsunade Haim certainly wouldn't be careless. "Be careful." Tsunade Haim took an attacking stance, looking at Yagami Kanto and reminded. Yagami Kingdu just waved his hand, but did not make a sound. The people watching the battle from the side only felt messy in a gust of wind. Orochimaru lost, not seriously, but also failed miserably. Now, even Tsunade Haim wants to do it. Could it be that the strength of Yagami Kingdu can already match that of the elites? The two peak powerhouses of the young generation challenged together, but it was only a 9-year-old child. In their eyes, the image of Yagami Kingdu became infinitely taller. The emotion of worship grows in the heart, even Namikaze Minato. Compared with Orochimaru's bells and whistles, Tsunade Haim's attack method is relatively simple. In addition to the terrifying medical ninjutsu, there are only super offensive and destructive supernatural powers. It started off with a quick dive. With a rolling sound, Tsunade Haim's fist continued to enlarge in the eyes of Yagami Kingdu. Yagami Kangdu also punched, and collided with Tsunade Haime's fist. Between the two, a terrifying strong wind suddenly squeezed out. People with slightly less strength could not even stand firm and fell directly to the ground. The 8 gods Kangdu didn't move, and Tsunade-ji took 3 steps back. Under the foot of each step, there are traces of small cracks. What a powerful body. I don't know if I don't fight, but as soon as I met, Tsunade Haime knew that Orochimaru was not wronged. In the competition of pure strength, he actually lost. But Tsunade Haime was not disappointed. Instead, the fighting spirit became more and more surging. The stronger Yagami Kangdu is, the happier she is. Wouldn't it be too boring if the battle ended too soon? In the entire Konoha village, there is no one who can surpass himself in terms of strength. Tsunade Haime, who is so itchy, eats and sleeps every day and fights. Finally, I met an evenly matched opponent, and it would be false to say that I am not excited. Boom boom boom. Tsunade-ji looked serious. Chakra burst out, wrapping Bai Nen's fist. Unreserved release, with a special unexpected event, strengthens the physical fitness in a short period of time, so that the already amazing power can play a more terrifying destructive power. Tsunade Haime did her best. The strange punch wrapped in terrifying chakra rammed straight towards Yagami Kangdu again. Boom. The strange power fist wrapped in the sonic boom. Even if it falls on the elite Junin, I am afraid it will fall apart. But Yagami Kangdu had already opened the 5th, Duman Konoha whirlwind, quickly dodging the fist. Eyes wide open. Fortunately, the white eyes caught by fishing have eliminated the characteristics of cataracts, and only retained its powerful ability, and no one around can see it. So, in the eyes of everyone, Yagami Soto appeared on the side of Tsunade Haime as if he had eyes on his back. So fast. Even though Tsunade Haime had been on guard against Yagami Kangdu's rapidity, he was still unable to catch it, and faced the same predicament as Orochimaru. Of course, it's not that Tsunade Haime is inferior to Orochimaru, it's that Yagami Kangdu's speed is 3 points faster, even she can't catch it. On your side. Orochimaru's exclamation of reminder suddenly entered Tsunade Haime's ears. Tsunade Haime suddenly turned sideways. He put his hands on his chest without hesitation, and took a defensive stance. Boom. Sure enough, in less than half a second, a strong punch fell, making a shocking sound. How about, let's go together. After a blow failed, Iori Kangdu immediately turned his attention to Orochimaru. Orochimaru smiled awkwardly. Subconsciously react, you must restrain, must restrain. Tsunade Haime took the opportunity to get some breathing time, and her whole body was tense to the limit. It's not that she hasn't fought ninjas who practice the 8 Dunga martial arts, and even Maitei, who opened Duman, can't match him in terms of strength. The same technique has different effects performed by different people, but it must not be comprehensive. But Yagami Kangdu is not only extremely powerful, but also faster than Maitei, who also opened Duman, which was beyond Tsunade-ji's expectations. Is this little guy really a monster? Boom boom boom. The two played against each other again, and the two figures in the air kept staggering, and the real sonic boom resounded in everyone's ears. The terrifying gust of wind swept out with every collision between the two, flying sand and gravel, and even needed to cast chakra to barely stabilize the figure. Everyone present was stunned. Is this the strength of the elite Junin level? Iori Kangdu is really only 9 years old. Doesn't he look like a more innocent adult? Including Aduan, the rest of the spectators couldn't help clenching their fists nervously. Hot blood, too hot blood. This was the first time they had ever seen an elite Jonin level fight against each other, and it was a shocking scene. Suddenly, Tsunade Haime made a completely negligible mistake. But Iori Kangdu's eyes lit up, and he was keenly aware of the 6th, Jingmun facing the peacock. Chakra surging, wrapped in a powerful fist, fell on Tsunade-ji's waist without the slightest pity. Boom! With a loud bang, Tsunade Haime flew out uncontrollably, smashing the outer wall of the ninja school. At the same time, system prompt sounded. Successfully defeated Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime, and received a reward, 1000 bait. As for the surroundings, quiet. Deathly silence. You have actually opened the 6th gate of the 8 gates of Dunjia, towards the peacock. Orochimaru only felt suffocated for a while. When he was fighting with himself, this guy actually hid his strength. Chapter 12. Boiling Konoha Village. There is so much movement in the school that it is difficult not to attract the attention of others. Especially the duel between Yagami Aoto and Tsunade Hime. The destructive power of the two was astonishing, the explosion shook violently, and even the outer wall of the school was shattered. The movement was so loud that many people had already gathered around. Everyone was stunned to see Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime, who were half-sized Yagami Kingdo, fighting with their own eyes. What happened? I thought there was an enemy attacking the village, but Tsunade Hime-sama was arguing with a child. Why did they fight? Could it be that this guy did something wrong to Konoha? Seeing with their own eyes the fight between Yagami Kingta and Tsunadeji and others, their hearts were shaken inexplicably. That is the elite Jonin. How could a half-year-old child compete with such a strong man? The most terrifying thing is that it even has the upper hand. At the same time, Jiraiya also came to the scene. I originally went to deal with Yagami Kanto's enrollment, but I didn't expect such a huge movement. After a little association, he guessed that 9 out of 10 had something to do with Yagami Kingdo. As expected. In front of the eyes are the terrifying ruins similar to the place where the ninja school playground and Konoha village were attacked by the whirlpool Kushina. I just saw with my own eyes that Tsunade Hime, who was famous for her strange power, was absolutely suppressed in terms of strength. Jiraiya's inner shock is no doubt words. Speaking of the whole Konoha, Tsunade Hime herself, who knows her strength best, must be Zilai. After all, eating and sleeping is also calling. It's just that even such a terrifying woman was suppressed alive by Yagami Kingdo. How far is this 8 gods Kingdo? Among the ruins, Tsunade Hime pushed aside the stones around her and stood up. The forehead fell off, the hair was messy, and the whole person was a little embarrassed, but there was no serious injury. Even if she is arrogant, she still has to admit, "You are strong, I lost." There was an uproar among many people around who didn't know the cause and effect. They never thought that Tsunade Hime would have to admit defeat one day. The object is still a half-old child who looks only 8 or 9 years old. Passionately attracted, there are many people from Konoha's major wealthy and aristocratic families. There are also many people who were suppressed by Tsunade Hime by force and shouted every day to fight back. Seeing such a scene, they simply didn't know what to say in their hearts. Could it be that the children of today have already perverted to such an extent? Ah, I see, I know him, a post-war orphan who likes to fish by the river, Yagami Kingta. Yeah, I also saw with my own eyes that Lord Jiraiya personally brought him into the ninja school. I thought it was for admission. Enrollment. What are you kidding me? Who can teach him if he can fight against the elite Junin? I'm afraid only Hokage-sama is here. Some people immediately recognized the identity of Yagami Kingdo and exclaimed in disgust. Hey, Jiraiya, where did you find the freak? You are too strong, are you really still a child? Tsunadeji rubbed her aching stomach and said with a pouted mouth. Jiraiya also smiled. Look, this is retribution. The students he recommended suppressed Tsunade Hime, who was always bullying him, so he felt more comfortable. Just happy and sad. No, Jiraiya didn't respond to Tsunade Hime, he couldn't help laughing. Tsunadeji dropped a fist. What? I can't take care of him, and I can't take care of you. Jiraiya immediately covered his bulging head, shaking his head and crying and laughing again and again. How can the gap between people be so huge? As the curious crowd gathered more and more, in order to eliminate the influence, Jiraiya asked Yagami Kanto to leave first, and handed him a key to a room. When I came to my exclusive residence, it was about 30 to 40 square meters, and everything I needed for daily life was readily available. Simple decoration, a separate bathroom, and a huge double bed that is enough for 2 people. Obviously, Zilai has also put a lot of effort into it. After the battle with Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime, the ninja school was temporarily unavailable, and the 8 gods Kingyu had already become the entire Konoha village, a child of someone else's family. Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime, who were as strong as the elite Joinin, were both defeated by him. Of course, the matter could not be concealed, and soon spread all over the streets and alleys of Konoha village. That is the elite Junin, or the direct disciple of the 3 generations of Hokage. The strength is strong, even in the battle of the ninja world, it is the mainstay that can reverse the crisis. Now the wheel battle is lost in the hands of Yagami Kangdu. The most important thing is that the identity of Yagami Kangdu was quickly confirmed, only a 9-year-old orphan after the war. A post-war orphan from a civilian background who likes to fish by the river every day, how did he cultivate to such a strong level? I heard that Ichiro Miura adopted him, and Yagami Kangta can only do simple basic fire escape and flame art, and he is best at 8 escape armor body art. There is nothing strange about it. It turned out to be the 8-door Dunjia. That's a nightmare-level physique that requires extremely tenacious will to successfully cultivate and improve slowly. What kind of perseverance does a child who is only 9 years old have to cultivate to a level comparable to the elite Jonin? Many people were talking about it, and it was lively. Generally speaking, he is inseparable from 10, and he has become a well-known evil boy in the mouths of others. I'm afraid there is another thing you don't know. It is said that Miura Ichiro was responsible for escorting the last bloodline of the country of Vortex, and the Vortex Kushina was attacked. My God, is this true? While people were shocked, they also felt it was right. A terrible boy who can defeat Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime in succession should have such strength. Recently, there have been frequent changes in Urin village, and the land and the country of the wind are also about to move. The entire Konoha village is shrouded in the tense situation on the eve of the storm. Now that a monster like Yashin Kangdu has appeared, it has dissipated their inner tension. After all, after the First Ninja World War, most of the most active Chinsho clan powerhouses fell. The strength of Konoha village has been greatly reduced, the Vortex Mito-sama is aging and dying, and the Nine-Tailed People's pillar strength has not yet been settled, and everything will take time. Chapter 13, Potential Super Shadow Grade, Hope for Konoha Revival. At the same time, Naruto office. Holding a pipe and blowing out a smoke ring, Hokage 3, Hizen Sarutobi sat on a chair. At this moment, Sarutobi Hizen, who is in his prime, is still in peak physical condition, and his eyes flashed with a gleam. I already know the general situation, but do you really think that the child of Yagami Kangdu is so terrifying? Sarutobi Hizen's gaze fell on the identities of Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya. They are all their own proud disciples, and their vision is naturally not bad. It's really unheard of for a 9-year-old child to be able to forcibly regret the elite Jonin, or even win a battle. Although I haven't seen that battle with my own eyes, from the perspective of the extent of the battle and its destructive power, it's really strong. Zilai was also the first to speak out. The battle in his mouth was naturally the battle of black-clothed ninjas outside the village sniping at the Whirlpool Kushina. Yes, before the fight, I had a hard time believing that a 9-year-old could do this, but now I believe it. Orochimaru nodded. Very strong, whether it's speed or strength. Tsunade-ji echoed. Sarutobi Hizen sat in the first place, lost in thought. Before the incident at the ninja school, Sarutobi Hizen got a report from Jiraiya. A 9-year-old child, beheading 3 Sharingan and 3 Chunin, forcibly grabbed people from the hands of the god of death, and rescued Vortex Kushina and Miura Ichiro, which is truly incredible. But what surprised Sarutobi Hizen the most was that Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime actually challenged Yagami Soto. And in the end, the two of them failed miserably. It is of course a good thing to have such a terrifying evildoer rising, who is still their Konoha. But Yagami Kangdo's previous deeds were too ordinary, and he had to suspect ulterior motives. A 9-year-old child is so strong, it must not be something that can be cultivated overnight. I heard that this child likes to fish by the river very much, almost all day and night. The improvement of strength is too strange, and it needs to be carefully investigated. Zan exhaled a smoke ring and said very cautiously. Of course, Jiraiya understands his teacher's caution, so he has already investigated Yagami Kanto's information from the very beginning. Hearing Sarutobi Hizen's obvious doubts to himself, he explained directly, this teacher can rest assured. Yagami Soto has a very innocent background. He grew up in Konoha, his parents died in the war, and he was raised by Miura Ichiro. Pause. Jiraiya added his own thoughts. Look in another direction. Which village would be willing to send a 9-year-old child who can rival the elite Jonin as a secret post to another village? If you think about it carefully, you will understand. At the age of 9, he can be comparable to the elite Jonin, and it is almost a certainty to become a shadow-level powerhouse. It is even possible to enter the super shadow level and reach the terrifying strength of the first-generation Hokage and Chinchujuma. One person suppressed the entire ninja world, almost invincible. Even the complete body of the 9-tailed demon fox, which is helpless even for shadow-level powerhouses, was easily suppressed by Chinsho Hashirama. How could it be possible for a child to grow into such a strong person to be a secret whistle in his village? In terms of emotion and reason, it can't be said. Sarutobi Hizen nodded silently. I already understand the situation. Teacher, let me take him personally. Orochimaru suddenly said, he is very strong, but he is only good at physical skills. It seems that he is not good at others. I can teach him. They can't take a punch, so why take her? I'll take him, Tsunadeji said with her arms crossed around her chest. Orochimaru was at a loss for words, but Tsunadeheim was right after all. Hey, what do you mean? I found this child, of course I should bring it. Zilai also jumped in dissatisfaction. Shut up, Tsunadeheim and Orochimaru said in unison. Zilai was speechless for a while. Sarutobi Hizen looked at his 3 apprentices, blushing face and couldn't help laughing. I am more and more interested in a child who can make the 3 of you so fancy. After a short period of contemplation, Sarutobi Hizen already had a decision in his heart. Let him come to the Hokage office tomorrow, Sarutobi Hizen said with a smile. Tsunadeheim and the other 3 looked at each other, seeing the surprise in each other's eyes. As Hokage, personally summoning a 9-year-old civilian child was unprecedented. They didn't care that Sarutobi Hizen didn't respond to their request, and they suddenly looked forward to it. I'll go in person, Zilai also said. The next morning. Konoha village was boiling early in the morning. The 3 generations of Hokage held a meeting in the Hokage building, and the patriarchs of the major wealthy families all went there. Including the 2 major advisors, Mito Gate Yen, Chuan Kaharu, Anbu Boss Team Battle, Uchiha, Hinata and other families gathered together. Such an unheard of scene has never happened except when the Ninja World War broke out. Now, in order to summon Kangdo Yagami, a 9-year-old from a commoner, many people have deep doubts. Especially the children of the major families, in fact, feel that the fuss is overkill. Why is Hokage-sama so aggressive? Just a commoner child, what kind of talent can he have? For him to summon the patriarchs of the major clans, the welfare of the clan will be cut before it. Is it so serious? It is rumored that he defeated Tsunadeheim-sama and Orochimaru-sama, and I think this is too exaggerated. It doesn't matter, it's all here, but I want to see if this child called Yagami Kangdo is as powerful as the rumored exaggeration. Behind many family patriarchs, they are all the children of their own family. As the patriarch, they couldn't say anything, but they were very unconvinced. The scale was unprecedented, the 9-year-old children, and many other reasons, made them clench their fists. For this Iori Kangdo, who has never met, is very disdainful. A lot of people came, and the meeting was simply held in the square below the Hokage office building. Sarutobi Hizen sat in the first place, smoking a cigarette and closing his eyes, looking very leisurely. He could clearly hear the discussions around Yagami Kangdu, and he didn't know whether Yagami Kangdu could deal with the hostility of these people. Standing next to Sarutobi Hizen, naturally Tsunade Hime, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya. Their faces remained the same, and they had expected such a scene from the time Sarutobi Hizen was about to summon Yagami Suto. It's just that they don't understand why Sarutobi Hizen did this. Deliberately provoking a fight. Ruin a genius. Totally unreasonable. Chapter 14, Sarutobi's Plan. The appointed time has come. Yagami Kangta walked slowly towards the plaza of the Hokage office building with the follower Vortex Kushina. Brother Kangdu, what are they doing? Vortex Kushina grabbed the hem of Yagami Kangdu's clothes. The black-clothed ninja attack happened, and the Whirlpool Kushina was traumatized. Therefore, after all kinds of requests, I finally got Sarutobi Hizen's permission and arranged it in the same roof and 2 rooms of Yagami Soto. It's okay, just follow me. Comforting Vortex Kushina, Yagami Kangdu strode forward in front of everyone's eyes, without any timidity. With his appearance, the voices of many dissatisfied discussions gradually subsided. Looking around, there are huge crowds. In addition to the children of Konoha's major wealthy families, there are many civilians who are also surrounded by curiosity. It has to be said that, occupying the most fertile central area of Hokage, Konoha village is quite populated. There are also countless powerhouses of all kinds, and this is the combat effectiveness of the weakened Konoha village. If it explodes completely, the strength is unimaginable. It's no wonder that the big brother who can stand in the 5 major ninja villages does not fall. In the original book, the Second Ninja World War broke out, and the multi-line battle still achieved the final victory. This is the background of Konoha village. The square of Naruto's office is not too big, so other civilians who are watching the lively can only choose to stay around. It is precisely because of this that Yagami Kangdu can feel the attention from all directions and is full of various emotions. Jealousy, doubt, disdain, mixed flavors. Yagami Kangdu was puzzled, not because there were too many people at the scene. It's just the way these people look at themselves. Why are they so unfriendly? Looking back on my past and present, I don't seem to have done anything that is outrageous. It's not like Naruto Uzumaki. In order to attract the attention of others, he does all kinds of strange behaviors. However, Yagami Kangdu didn't care about the eyes of these little minions. What really deserves his attention is the existence in the crowd that can be noticed at a glance. His face was red, and just sitting, he gave people a powerful aura that was hard to ignore. He smoked dry cigarettes one by one, wore a red and white Hokage hat on his head, and had his signature mustache after get-off work. On both sides stood Tsunade Hime, Jiraiya and Orochimaru. Even the patriarchs of the major families can only stand in front of him, and their identities are naturally ready to be revealed. The 3 generations of Hokage, Sarutobi Hiyazaki. Legendary 3 ninjas, of the Mega Ninja world of later generations. Yagami Kangdu looked at the middle-aged Sarutobi Hizen, and he was ordinary. But if you go deeper, there will be an indescribable sense of oppression. If you don't do it, you will feel like you can't resist. It turned out that this is the shadow-level powerhouse. Iori Kangdu had a preliminary understanding in his heart and couldn't help but nodded secretly. Son, come here. Seeing Yagami Aoto looking at himself without fear, Hizen Sarutobi's inner curiosity became stronger and stronger. After Tsunade Hime and the others left yesterday, Sarutobi Hizen also specially summoned people from Anbu to report. Every move that happened in Konoha village could not escape the control of his Hokage. Getting the detailed information also made Hiruzen Sarutobi more and more looking forward to seeing Yagami Soto. He is almost incapable of escaping, and his physical skills are powerful. The 5th sect of the 8th door dungeon has already been opened, Dumin Konoha Whirlwind. The speed is fast, the destructive power is powerful, and the sensitivity of perceiving crisis is far beyond ordinary people. Although I don't know if he has the special ability of the blood-based limit, from the current performance, it is unlikely that he will die on the road of growth. As long as you give a certain amount of growth time and help, you can quickly become a strong one. As long as he is loyal to the village, he can even become a replacement for him. That's right, that's why, yesterday, Tsunade Haim and the three of them were red-faced, and Sarutobi Hizen didn't respond to them. I just want to meet Yagami Kingdu today, and if he is satisfied enough, I will teach him personally. The direction of future training will be Hokage. You are very good. Sarutobi Hizen looked at Yagami Kantu and said with great satisfaction. The family has a clean background and grew up from small leaves. In the face of so many bad eyes, calm and calm. Compared with Tsunade Haim, Jiraiya and Orochimaru, it is indeed more suitable to succeed him as the fourth Hokage. Do you have anything to say? Sarutobi Hizen asked. I have nothing to say. Yagami Kingdu looked a little indifferent. Don't you want to know why these people are looking at you like that? Sarutobi Hibiki became interested. It doesn't matter, just watch if they are bored, and I won't charge you. Yagami Kingdu shrugged. Ha ha ha, the little guy is really unexpected. The unsmiling Sarutobi Hizen suddenly laughed. But the surrounding crowd suddenly rioted. What's the situation? Just talk as you speak, why are you involved with us? People sit at home, and the pot comes from the sky. Also, what are you talking about as a little brat? Bullish look, who do you look down on? More than them, even Jiraiya and others looked at each other and smiled helplessly. Doesn't this make the originally unfriendly atmosphere even more unfriendly? Sarutobi Hizen is worthy of being Hokage. After laughing, he lightly pressed his hand and said, Our village has always been friendly and helpful, so please put away your eyes. Hokage's influence is huge, even if there is a part of someone's heart, superficial effort still needs to be done. Soon, the bad eyes around him disappeared. It was just the fact that Iori Kangyu was able to defeat Orochimaru and Tsunade Haim, even more and more scornful. Although you don't want to know why they're looking at you, I feel the need to tell you. After the words fell, Hiruzen Sarutobi changed the conversation and said unexpectedly, They heard that you lost Orochimaru and Tsunade Haim in a row yesterday. They are deeply skeptical about this. For verification, if you want to challenge the proof, are you willing to fight? Don't worry, if you don't want to, no one can force it. As if afraid of Yagami Kingdu's misunderstanding, Sarutobi Hibiki added at the end. One night of fermentation was enough for the ninja school to spread to the ears of most people in Konoha village. Some people believe. Most were skeptical, and some even scoffed. Orochimaru and Tsunade Haim are both currently cultivated by Konoha, the peak powerhouses of the younger generation, and the top existences among the elites. The characters they all need to look up to, how can they be defeated by a half-year-old child? This is an insult to their Konoha village. Aside from the rumors, some people exaggerate, they can't think of any possibility. But there is no evidence to prove that it was fabricated out of thin air, and only the protagonist of this incident, Yashin Kingdu, fought. Chapter 15. Growing up so big, I have never seen such an arrogant person. Challenge. Everyone around. The eighth god's Kingdu was slightly stunned, looking around and uttering doubts. The bad look that had disappeared was projected again, even stronger than before. They have long wanted to try Yagami Kingdu. Especially in the past 2 days, there have been dazzling spreads, 1 punch and 1 Orochimaru, 2 punches and 1 Tsunade-ji. Now even Hokage-sama, just to summon him, has summoned almost all the wealthy families in Konoha village. A 9-year-old from a commoner, how could Hidehei receive such treatment? They are not satisfied. Do you choose to agree, or refuse? Sarutobi Hizen said towards Yagami Soto. Agreeing is equivalent to solving the trouble at one time, and you don't need to deal with these trivial things in the future. If you refuse, these people will also secretly take action. Even if they don't have the intention to kill themselves, but there are so many people, it's annoying to go back and forth. It is better to solve it once and for all. Of course there is no problem. I also really want to learn from the masters in the village. Yagami Kingdo nodded. Sarutobi Hizen smiled, not surprised. He had long expected that Yagami Kingdo would agree, so that he would be able to judge what kind of potential he has and what level of specific strength he has now. Teaching students in accordance with their aptitude is very important. However, the challenge is okay. I need to grant me a request. Just when everyone was eager to try, Yagami Kingdo put forward his own request. But it doesn't matter. I'm an orphan, as you should all know. It's not easy for Uncle Ichiro to take care of me and raise me. Kushina will need money in every aspect to live with me in the future. Iori Kingdo looked around frankly and said, that's why I need money to challenge 100,000 Huobi once. As long as you give the money, you can play as many games as you want. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. What the hell? This is obviously a time to prove yourself. Why do you still need a challenge fee? Moreover, it is rumored that you can defeat the existence of Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime. In other words, it is also an elite jonin. This style that fell into Qian's eyes is out of style. The most important thing is that Yagami Kingdo thinks that the price of 100,000 Huobi is very low, and everyone can get it. After all, a detonating talisman requires 90,000 coins. Unexpectedly, most people were isolated. Sure enough, it really is a fake. It must be in this way to avoid fighting with us. Insidious enough, he promised, and used money to raise the threshold, making it clear that he still wanted to escape the battle. Everyone was talking indignantly, and even the look in the eyes of Yagami Kingdo became even more vicious. Tsunade also helped her forehead helplessly. She likes to gamble and loves money, but Iori Kingdo is young and loves money even more than him. But also look at the occasion. Even if it is an elite jonin, in the face of so many people, why should you learn to give in? It offends everyone at once, aren't you afraid? Of course, Yagami Kingdo really didn't care in his heart. This is 100,000 Huobi, and I will weigh it for you. Just when everyone was filled with righteous indignation and distress that they were blocked from the threshold by 100,000 Huobi, someone from the Hyuga clan camp came out. One of the elders of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Tongping. He has already practiced 64 palms and 8 trigrams, and with 360% no blind spots, this kid is doomed to lose. I know that he is especially strong at the level of Shang Nin. His strength is not as good as that of elite Shang Nin, but he is stronger than ordinary Shang Nin. Someone immediately recognized the identity of the person, and immediately showed a happy expression on their face. Special Junin, ordinary Junin with a particular outstanding talent, the combat effectiveness is no trivial matter. Besides, he was a member of the Hyuga clan, so he would have no problem taking a 9-year-old child. It's great, I can finally extinguish his arrogance. Teach him to be a good man, and understand that he is polite to his elders. Let him understand why the flowers are so red. Many people opened their mouths one after another, shouting loudly for Hai Shang Tongping to help out. With a cold face, he told the 100,000 Huobi to be thrown away. You can have a little bit, not a bad point. The words fell, and the coin had already fallen into the hands of Yashin Kingdo. Can we start? Seeing Yagami Kingdo collecting the money, Hyuga Tongping couldn't help urging. Naturally, Yagami Kingdo nodded. Boom. In the blink of an eye, the battle broke out suddenly. Don't hold back and teach him a hard lesson. The surrounding crowd erupted, wishing to personally go on the field and beat Yagami Kingdo. Boom boom boom. The battle scene was extremely lively. Hyuga Tongping didn't hold back at all. The 64 Bagua palms came out all at once, rubbing against the air, and there were bursts of sonic booms. Yagami Kingdo dealt with it calmly, and he was able to deal with it easily just by opening the gate of life, Lilianwa. Every time he moved, he was able to escape the 8 diagram's palm. Immediately afterwards, relying on the anticipation of the white-eyed, Bagwazong greeted the face of the 8 gods Kangdu again. At the critical moment, the 8 gods Kangdu can always just dodge the 8 diagram's palm. Half a day passed, the two of you came and went, and the fight was very lively. The enthusiasm of the people around was completely detonated, and the shouting was louder and louder. They also gradually recognized the strength of Yagami Kangdu. After all, being able to fight under the fierce offensive of the Hinata clan's Jonin had proved their strength. However, it is impossible for elites to be ninjas, and at most it is at the level of ninjas. But this was enough to stop everyone from underestimating Yagami Kangdu. In the Naruto world, where the strong are respected, strength is the easiest to be recognized by others. Obviously. In such a short time, Yagami Kangdu has been recognized by everyone in Konoha. What's going on? It's impossible to deal with this fellow Hinata Tongpei for so long. Tsunade Haim, who was standing beside Hizen Sarutobi, seemed very dissatisfied with the fighting for so long. Doesn't this mean that if she was defeated by Yagami Kangdu, it would be better than Hyuga Tongping? This kid, there are so many ghost ideas, take a good look, he will not release water for no reason. Orochimaru laughed and shook his head from one side. Jiraiya also smiled helplessly, clearly seeing Yagami Kangdu's purpose. The opportunity is here. At the same time, Hyuga Tongping deliberately sold a flaw to Yagami Kangdu. Using the shadow clone to attract Iori Kangdu's attention, he didn't know when, he had already circled behind him. Boy, you're still too young, the battle is over. With a confident smile, Hyuga Tongping slammed down. He didn't keep his hand at all, wrapped around Chakra's palm, and even rubbed the air with hot flames. Chapter 16. The Evildoer, the elites are all giving money. It was a surefire blow with Hinata Tongping's monstrous fighting intent. But Yagami Kangdu stumbled and avoided this attack by falling below the glasses of others. In the eyes of outsiders, this is simply that Yagami Kangdu stepped on shit luck. Next time, there will be no such good luck. But before Hinata Tongping could react, I saw Yagami Kangdu clenching his fists, wrapped in green energy, and punching straight. The mediocre moves, the speed is still slow. Hyuga Tongping only thought that Yagami Kanto was playing tricks on himself. Just when he was about to return to his senses to fight back, he was shocked to find that he was squeezed by the pressure of terror, and his movements were as slow as a turtle. Boom! The merciless punch hit the lower abdomen of Hyuga Tongping, and the whole person flew out like a rag sack, and was deeply embedded in the outer wall of the Hokage building. Chi and blood surged in his chest, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Okay, so strong. There is no way to avoid it. How can such a terrifying coercion erupt in an instant? Hyuga muttered to herself in shock as the colors on the same plane were cyan and red. So far. After half an hour of fierce battle, the extraordinary battle came to an end. With a mediocre straight punch, Yagami Kangdu narrowly defeated Hyuga Topei. You won. Hyuga Tongping was also straightforward, cupped his hands, and turned away without turning back to the family camp. Everyone thinks they can see everything clearly. Yagami Kangdu is very strong, and it is indeed not like a 9-year-old child can do it. He is a rare genius. But compared with Orochimaru and Tsunade Haim, Hyuga Topei is very different. In this way, it took half an hour to narrowly win. The rumors are indeed rumors and exaggerated. Even in their opinion, the 8 gods can't win the battle. Hinata Tongpei is getting old, and he is already physically weak. This is because the fighting time was stretched abruptly, and this was because of lack of physical strength and narrowly lost. In other words, if a quick-witted person goes up, Yagami Kangdu will definitely lose. Place me next. Someone from the Hyuga clan stood up. This person is also a member of the Hyuga clan elder group, much stronger than the previous Hyuga Tongping. Most importantly, young, energetic, and not afraid to fight protracted battles at all. He is also a particularly strong ninja. After just observing, he thinks that he has figured out the way of Yagami Kangdu. Going up is a mad beat, and the battle can be solved in minutes. 100,000 fire coins, take it. The elder of the Hinata clan said coldly. Let's get started. HMPH, don't think that you look down on my Hyuga clan after defeating Hyuga Tongping, he is only the weakest of the elders. The Hyuga clan elder said coldly. Iori Kangdu laughed and shook his head, childish. If you lose, and there are so many reasons. Boom. The elders of the Hyuga clan suddenly turned red. This was ridicule, and it was unbearable. The battle has heated up from the beginning. The elders of the Hinata clan are all good at melee combat, and the elders who are playing at this moment are indeed much better than Hinata Tongping. Whether it is speed or responsiveness, it must be on the front line. It came up with the Bagua palm that fell like a storm, unreservedly releasing chakra, striving for a quick resolution. Hey, I can teach this little devil a lesson now. He's good at procrastinating, let's see how he procrastinates. Break him out and make him accept the cruelty of the world. Many people raised hope and shouted for support. Recognition does not mean that dissatisfaction with Yagami Kanto is eliminated. The character of the stinky fart, with an attitude of not taking the rest of them in the eyes, is simply unstoppable. Unfortunately, the ideal is very full. But reality is skinny. This time the battle lasted 45 minutes. In the end, it was an unremarkable straight punch that slammed into the opponent's abdomen and ended the fight. How is that possible? Unwilling to look at the eight gods Kangdu, the elders of the Hyuga clan were dripping with sweat. Not reconciled. How could you be willing? The loach-like guy doesn't fight him at all. No matter what the temptation was, it was steady, and he even took the initiative to sell his flaws a few times. As a result, his face was baptized with fists, not only did not have a quick solution, but even fell into a disadvantage. Damn. It's a pity that losing is an indisputable fact, and it's useless to be unwilling. Desolately got up, jumped a few times, and disappeared from everyone's eyes. The scene was silent. Obviously a battle is full of dangers, why can't you lose? This little devil is very cunning. He doesn't choose to fight head-to-head. He can delay time well and retain his physical strength. It's too treacherous. Leans on two people. No matter how much you save your stamina, it will definitely consume a lot of energy. This time I will come. Don't give him a chance to dodge. If you seize the flaws, go after them. Many people were indignant and didn't want to see Yagami Kangdu continue to be so arrogant. The main reason, of course, is that they discovered the true strength of Yagami Kangdu, and desperately hoped that someone could teach him a lesson. Otherwise, wouldn't the words that were ridiculed earlier fall on Lien himself? The third challenger who emerged from the crowd was also very powerful, specializing in physique cultivation. In 48 minutes, Iori Kangdu almost sent him off the field with a whip. Immediately afterwards, someone who did not believe in evil followed, and was going to use the wheel battle to not give Yagami Kangdu any rest time. 50 minutes later, there was no doubt that they lost, but Yagami Kangdu won. There are people from every family to fight, and the currency of 100,000 is naturally not a problem. It's a pity that each one is like giving money to someone. In the end, the elders of the Uchiha clan who could rank in the forefront stood up, and he was a master at opening the wheel. Even if it is just a hook, but with its own illusion, its strength is not trivial. The people who were a little decadent suddenly burned their hopes. The strength of this elder was ranked first in the entire Konoha village. They didn't believe it anymore. Under such a wheel battle, they couldn't defeat Yagami Kangdu. Unfortunately, the fact once again let them down. Yagami Kangdu is like a machine that won't get tired. He fights without stopping, and he can narrowly win every time. Completely unaffected by Uchiha's riding wheel eye illusion, the front is hard steel, and the battle is solved in 55 minutes. Freaks. It doesn't even work with illusions. Who the hell is this kid? Civilians. Ordinary talents. What bastard lied to us like that? The old strength of this Uchiwa has almost reached the elite level, so the rumors we heard are true. Damn, I can see it when you say it like this. Every time it is a narrow victory, there is still more than enough energy. Being fooled, this is deliberately showing weakness and relaxing our vigilance. Tricky, so treacherous. Just now, it was just because of the fever in my brain that I didn't think about it that much. Now calm down, many people have found clues. Chapter 17, The First Genius Ever. From the beginning to the end, the speed of Yagami Kanto's action has not been changed in any way. His face wasn't flushed, he wasn't panting, he wasn't even sweating. Obviously, he has practiced physical skills to an extremely terrifying level, and it will never be only the fifth, Dumen Konoha whirlwind. Sarutobi Hizen laughed from the beginning to the end, but he did not expect that such a serious occasion would be taken seriously by Yagami Soto. Obviously, in Yagami Kanto's view, those challenged opponents are just moving vaults. Just give him money. If you win too easily, no one will give away any more money. Deliberately show weakness and keep getting hooked. One person is 100,000 Huobi, and he has made a lot of money in such a long time. Even the elite Jonin was folded in his hands, and if he couldn't wake up again, that would be a real mental retardation. It's abominable, it's just fooling us for fools. If you lose your money, how can there be such a person? Countless people shouted in anger. Unfortunately, no matter how they struggled and protested, it was in vain. The money had already entered Yagami Kengdu's pocket, and it was impossible to spit it out. What's more, he is also a trophy won by relying on real materials. Many people around clenched their fists, gnashing their teeth so much that they could not wait to go up to fight the 8 gods Kengdu. Even the elite Junin, besieged by a group of them, I am afraid they will only be beaten. It's a pity, not to mention that Yagami Kengdu wouldn't stand stupidly and let them beat him. In front of Sarutobi Hizen, no one dared to mess around. Is there anyone else to challenge? To be honest, I'm a little tired, really, you see, I'm sweating. Iori Kengdu looked around and said loudly. It's so easy to make money, why don't you make a few fools? Money is not a bastard. Quiet. Deathly silence. The crowd who had been clamoring wildly before fell silent. No one dared to look at Yagami Kengdu, even if they were very upset. But the strength is there, unless it is a shadow-level powerhouse, who can teach Yagami Kengdu? But the film-level present are all high-level villagers, can they still bully a child? If you lose, you can't hang your face. If you win, you will be ridiculed and bullied, which is totally useless. Now they have accepted their fate and no longer doubt the rumors. After half a day of fierce battles, he was able to defeat the elite Jonin when he was young, and now he is still a quasi-elite Jonin. Uchiwa is old enough to explain everything. This is a great opportunity, don't you all want to beat me up? Don't miss it. Seeing everyone bowing their heads, Iori Kengdu immediately grinned to persuade him. When the words fell, many people's expressions changed, and they cursed wildly in their hearts. Damn, you are an elite Jonin, who is your opponent? Lord Orochimaru and Lord Tsunadeheim were all defeated, and several elders in the village have been defeated by you. Are you going to seek abuse? If you don't have a shadow-level strength, go up to send people and money. Do you really think they are mentally retarded? 250. Uchiwa's old and embarrassed appearance just now, they are still vivid in their minds. Are you still a 9-year-old? It's as easy as chopping melons and vegetables. Quiet. Seeing that it was almost over, Sarutobi Hizen finally made a sound, dismantling the embarrassing atmosphere of everyone. Yagami Kengdu shrugged and said nothing. Take it when you see it, you can't be too arrogant. If the people around hear this, it must be crazy again. Are you not arrogant enough? Growing up, I have never seen such an arrogant. You are strong. Everyone stopped talking, and Sarutobi Hizen looked at Yagami Aoto seriously and said. Seeing is believing. He had previously heard the report on the Yagami Kingdo and had already made an estimate. But the power of Yagami Kingdo still exceeded his expectations. 8-door Dunjia, according to each person's physique and talent, the strength they exert is also very different. If it were Matekai, the 5th Duman would definitely not be able to achieve the level that Yagami Kingdo showed. Even from beginning to end, Yagami Kingdo was still hiding his strength. 5th Duman will never be the true strength of Yagami Kingdo. At only 9 years old, after defeating elites like Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime, Yagami Kingdo's potential is limitless. Even now, it is definitely worthy of his attention, and he will do everything he can to cultivate. Can I ask you a question? Sarutobi Hizen asked seriously, looking at Iori Soto. Ask. Yagami Kingdo didn't mind. I heard that when you rescued the Vortex Kushina alone, you almost had 3 Jonin enemies in a split second. Then, how far you have cultivated your 8th-door Dunjia, can you tell me? As soon as Sarutobi Hizen's words came out, everyone around him immediately boiled. What? 3 Junin in a split second, is he the one who rescued the Whirlpool Kushina? Even an elite Junin can't do it at all, right? This kid is a monster. Listen to what Hokage-sama said, he seems to have retained his strength in the battle just now. No wonder even Lord Orochimaru and Lord Tsunade Hime are no match. It just doesn't make sense. They were completely kept in the dark. Guessing that Yagami Kingdo is very strong, at least he is also an elite Junin. Unexpectedly, if it weren't for Sarutobi Hizen's inquiry, they would not know, and the elites might not be able to stop them. The most depressing thing was that Uchiwa in the crowd was old, and a mouthful of old blood suddenly spewed out. I thought I was on a par with Yagami Kingdo, and the difference was not far behind. It was only when I got older that I opened the distance. The thought of being played as a monkey made him dizzy and fell to the ground on the spot. Pissed off. This 8-god Kingdo is so contemptuous of people. But it also proves that those who lost before were not wronged. It is quite normal that they are not opponents for the perverts of the 3 Sharingan-level powerhouses in seconds. Open the 6 doors to the peacock. Yagami Kingdo didn't care. With Anbu's ability, I'm afraid it can be guessed from the traces of the battle on the spot. Although I don't know what Sarutobi Hizen means, there is nothing to hide about this kind of thing. Hi! There was an uproar in the crowd. Seeing Iori Kingdo burst out with astonishing momentum. Chakra surged wildly, and the 6 gates toward the peacock suddenly opened. Just standing there puts a mountain of pressure on them. Even those who were slightly weaker had their knees bent. Not wrong. It's not wrong to lose. Yagami Kingdo is definitely the first genius in the history of Konoha village. Faced with such a fearful opponent, it is said that Tsunade Hime-sama had to fight for dozens of rounds before losing. Already strong. At this moment, they no longer feel that the rumor of Tsunade Hime's defeat is an insult, it is simply an honor. Chapter 18. Become the captain of the dark part of Konoha. Sarutobi Hizen was very satisfied with Yagami Soto's performance. 9. He opened 6 doors and faced the peacock, and the pressure almost swept the entire square. Except for the strong ones above, more or less they have been affected. Okay, they can't take it anymore. Seeing someone knelt down a little bit, Sarutobi Hizen said to Yagami Soto. The pressure suddenly disappeared. Immediately afterwards, Sarutobi Hizen looked at Yagami Kingdo again with a serious expression. You already have the strength to graduate from the ninja school, do you know if you are willing to contribute to the village? It's okay to contribute, but I have one condition. Yagami Kingdo said. You said. I'm going into the Forbidden Art Library to borrow for 7 days, but I won't take anything with me, just borrow. Yagami Kingdo's words were astonishing. But based on the potential he has shown, this condition is not unacceptable. The most important thing is that no matter how talented a person is, it takes a long time to learn the forbidden techniques in the Forbidden Technique Library. A minimum of 1 month is required. Most of them are also based on their own special physique. There is no problem with borrowing from the 7-day Forbidden Art Library. As long as you are willing to contribute to the village, you can also borrow other types of ninjutsu, and there is no time limit. Hiruzen Sarutobi nodded. Okay, deal, Yagami Kingdu responded. Entering the Forbidden Technique Library is of course not to learn the forbidden techniques in it. Just for fishing in the future, it is very possible to obtain various powerful abilities. With this foreshadowing, any powerful ninjutsu used in the future will not be suspected. As for the ordinary ninjutsu loan supplemented by Sarutobi Hyjin, it is also expected. Just a little research will reveal that Yagami Soto is currently only good at taijutsu. Of course, a child with such terrifying potential can't only do physical exercises. You should be proficient in both ninjutsu and illusion. Of course, they didn't think that Yagami Kingdu couldn't learn, but only thought that the conditions were limited, so they proposed to let him borrow ordinary ninjutsu scrolls. Although procedurally speaking, it is easy to be criticized by others. There is no merit or honor to get such treatment. But if you want to win over a monstrous talent like Yagami Kingdu, you still need to pay for this. It's just that as soon as the voice of Yagami Kingdu fell, Sarutobi Hyjin directly announced, "Then from today, you will be the captain of Konoha's dark part." What? Hearing Sarutobi Hyjin's announcement, the people around couldn't hold back any longer. Yashin Kingdu is indeed very powerful and has great potential. At the age of 9, he has cultivated the 8-door Dunjia to the level of 6, which shows that his will is tough. But Anbu has always been affiliated with Shadow, and performed top-secret missions. It would be too hasty to have a 9-year-old as the captain of the dark section. Not only the children of each family, but also the patriarchs of other major families were shocked. Just wanted to speak to persuade, but realized their identities, and immediately shut up. On this occasion, in their capacity, they could never open their mouths to refute Shadow's authority. Tsunade Haim, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru all looked at each other. Only then did they understand why the teacher had to summon the Yagami Kingdu so solemnly. He also ignored everyone's challenges and malice towards him. It turned out that he took a fancy to Yagami Kanto's future. And it will never be limited to the captain of the dark part. Most likely, it was cultivated according to the successor of Shadow. This little guy will soon climb onto our heads. Zillai also shook his head with a wry smile. But his heart was mostly happy. There is such a calm and potential talent as the heir of Shadow, which is much more reliable than him or Tsunade Haim and Orochimaru. Lord Hokage, borrowing the Forbidden Art Library has already opened the back door. It is inappropriate for him to be the captain of the dark part. Just when everyone thought that the matter was done, Shimura Dan, who had half of his face covered in white bandages, hid his voice. Yeah, Hokage-sama, he's still too young. Being strong doesn't mean he has enough experience in leading a team. It's better to train and hone, and it won't be too late when you have enough experience. Yeah, Anbu is concerned with the safety of Konoha as a whole, so you can't be careless. With Shimura Danzo's opening, some people in the crowd gathered up the courage to stand up. The authority of the captain of the dark part is very high, and even some wealthy families have to be restrained. Putting a 9-year-old on top of them was a joke. Sarutobi Hyjin didn't care about everyone's opposition, took a sip of dry smoke, and announced, "Since you are against it, I will not force Yagami Soto to be the captain of the Dark Division." After the words were finished, before everyone could be relieved, Sarutobi Hyjin said again, "As long as any of you can defeat Yagami Soto, who will be the captain of this dark part." As soon as these words came out, there was an uproar at the scene. At other times, the crowd must be full of enthusiasm. After seeing the strength of Yagami Kingdu, how could anyone have the confidence to defeat this pervert? This is a perversion that cannot be measured by age. Everyone suddenly woke up. From the beginning to the end, even if Yagami Kingdu heard that he was going to be the captain of the dark section, his face was full of waves. In the face of the wave of rebuttals from the crowd, there was no emotion at all. Such calmness has surpassed most of them. Not to mention, his perverted strength does not match his age. Gradually, some people accepted the fact after psychological comfort. Even Shimura Danzo's facial muscles twitched, but Hishin Sarutobi was prepared. Of course he wanted to block it. But even if Hiruzen Sarutobi didn't say it, as Konoha's top executive, he couldn't make a move. Otherwise, the big bully the small, and it is clear that it is to refute the dignity of Hokage. The patriarchs of the major families also glanced at each other, and no one raised any objections. Since everyone has no opinion, from today onwards, Yagami Kanto will be the captain of my Konoha Dark section. Hiruzen Sarutobi gave everyone time to digest, and no one objected after a while, so he announced loudly. Yagami Kangdo's expression did not change from beginning to end. As the captain of the dark part, even if he needs to face the old silver coin of Shimura Danzo, he doesn't panic at all. So far, today's farce is a high level. Just don't know why. The fact that Yagami Kanto became the captain of Konoha's part quickly spread. The entire ninja world got the news. Chapter 19, shocking the entire ninja world. Yuyin Village. In a huge conference room. As the well-deserved leader of Yuyin Village, Sanjiao, Hanzo sat in the first place, watching the information passed back by his subordinates. Konoha Village has added a dark part captain named Yagami Kanto. This was not something to be concerned about. But the most amazing thing is that this Yagami Kanto is only 9 years old. Iori Kanto. Hanzo looked at the name thoughtfully, and looked at the two people who brought information in front of him and said, "Have you heard of this family?" In front of Hanzo, standing is the leader of the Anbu of Yuyin Village and the captain. Under the leadership of Hanzo, Yuyin Village implemented a closed policy. The current 3 have already represented the top management. There is no big family with this surname in the data. It is said that it is a post-war orphan of Konoha Ninja Village. Both parents are civilian ninjas. There is nothing surprising, Yuyin Village Anbu captain said. This is very strange. A mere 9-year-old child, according to information, actually defeated Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime. The leader of Yuyin Village's dark clan frowned. 8-door Dunjia has opened to the 6th door, and the elite children who defeated major families and wealthy families alone are not opponents, even elders. This child should be listed as a special concern. Indeed, if there is no error in the information, and it is not deliberately done by Konoha Village, the potential of this 9-year-old child is too great. Hanzo nodded. I thought that Konoha would not pick up. Except for the 3 disciples who were taught by Sarutobi Hizen, there are no more outstanding characters. It seems that the plan will be delayed for a while. Hanzo got up and paced back and forth, thought for a moment, and then said. Yes, it's not wise to take action at this time. The leader of the Anbu of Yuyin Village immediately agreed. In addition, we will spread the matter about Yagami Kanto as much as possible. Hanzo ordered. Yuyin Village Anbu Brigade nodded and left quickly. Soon. With the help of Hanzo, the 9-year-old boy, Yagami Kanto became the leader of the dark part of Konoha Village. At the speed of a hurricane, it spread throughout the 5 major countries, the 5 major ninja villages, and swept through almost the entire ninja world. Iori Kanto. Where did the characters come from? The land of soil, the village of Yinyan, the 3 generations of soil shadows of the garlic nose, Oyemu muttered to himself. In order to use the war to plunder profits, he has done a lot of things secretly recently. There was a Yagami Kanto in the sky, and the plan was going to change greatly. Lord Hokage, according to the information, the 9-year-old Yagami Kanto already has the strength to defeat the elite Junin. Even Orochimaru and Tsunade Hime are not opponents. Did you brag about it? Voice. Anaji's eyes were deep. Anyway, be careful, that guy Hanzo will definitely change the plan. The country of thunder, Union Village. After receiving the news that Yagami Soto became the captain of Konoha's dark part. A strong physicist, do you rely on strength, speed, and destructive power as your highest reliance? I really want to practice with him. His face was full of excitement and fighting spirit surging. This is a metamorphosis with hard steel that can go to the front of the 8 tails. When you meet someone of the same type, you always want to challenge yourself. If it weren't for the fear of detonating the war between the two countries, he would probably have the intention to go directly to Konoha village to challenge Yagami Kangdu. Foggy Village. The third generation of water shadows, sitting in the first place, looked ruthless. The collapse of the country of Vortex was his single-handed plan. Not long ago, a luxurious lineup was dispatched to hunt down Uzumaki Kushina. The result was actually the destruction of the entire army of 3 Shangnin and 3 Zongnin, and it was unknown who killed them. Thorough investigation in anger, to no avail. Now, looking at the 4 characters of Yagami Kangdu on the information, the third generation Mesuying suddenly understood. Lord Mesuying, are you sending others to assassinate again? I can't find many spells in the country of Vortex. I'm afraid I can only pass the little girl. The senior of Wuyin village suggested. Outside Konoha village is our last chance. How can we take it away in the village now? Sandai Mizukage snorted. It's all to blame for this little devil of the 8 gods Kangdu, or else send someone to kill him, shame on him. Someone suggested. A 9-year-old strongman who can rival the elite Jonin, who will assassinate. Am I still you? Mizukage sneered. With a flick of his hand, he threw the information in his hand to the top of Wuyin village. The senior officials of Wuyin village circulated it one after another, and they were immediately shocked. The above information is very clear. The losing streak of Orochimaru and Tsunade Haim is still an absolute advantage. One after another challenged the elites of the major noble families in Konoha village, winning all the battles and winning a lot of huobi. The 8 doors of Dunjia opened 6 doors, the physical skills are super strong, and the strength evaluation is the lowest elite Shainjin. If such a person wants to assassinate, it is still impossible in Konoha village. At the same time, he silently promotes the Black Jew of Ninja World War. Only 9 years old, a post-war orphan from a commoner, actually possesses the strength of an elite Jonin. When I first got the news, even Heiju couldn't believe it. But obviously, things won't come out of nowhere. In order to resurrect his mother, he does not allow any variable interference. The 9-year-old elite Junin is likely to have unexpected effects. It seems that he needs to prepare early. Brother Kangdu, are you there? In Konoha village, Yagami Kanto originally prepared to summon the system and counted the bait, and the voice of Uzumaki Kushina came over. Opening the door, I saw Uzumaki Kushina smiling sweetly, holding a delicate lunchbox in her hand. Because of Yagami Kangdu's terrible cooking skills, he lives by eating ramen every day. The little kitchen expert Whirlpool Kushina took care of all the meals and was responsible for 3 meals a day. Where did you go today? Iori Kangdu asked at the dining table. Uzumaki Kushina hardly left his sight these days, but disappeared for a morning. Going to see Grandma Mito. Speaking of this, Uzumaki Juchinai immediately burst into tears. The country of Vortex was destroyed, leaving only a relative of Vortex Mito. But just yesterday, Uzumaki Mito also left. In the entire country of Vortex, she is really the only one left. It's okay, Kangdu brother will always be with you. Yagami Kangdu sighed secretly. He touched Uzumaki Kushina's little head and comforted him. There is one more thing, I think I must tell brother Kangdu. After sobbing for a while, Uzumaki Kushina suddenly stopped crying and said. Go ahead. Yagami Kangdu nodded. I decided to inherit my grandmother and become the pillar force of the 9-tailed people. Uzumaki Kushina said firmly. Yagami Kanto wanted to say something. But obviously, Uzumaki Kushina was already prepared and shook his head. I know what this means, but I have already decided. Brother Kangdu, I hope you don't blame me for my willfulness. After all, this is the mission of our Uzumaki clan. Quote. Okay, I will support your decision. Iori Kangyu had no choice but to say no more. The two were speechless and ate in silence. Uzumaki Kushina's mission is just a cover, and the real intention has not been said, nor is it going to be said. Her brother Kangdo is too good, and she doesn't want to fall behind too much. With his own talent, he can't do it at all. But if he could become the nine-tailed Manzuli, then everything would be different. Chapter 20. A single draw destroys a lifetime, 10 consecutive miracles. Early the next morning, Uzumaki Kushina was picked up by Jiraiya himself. According to Yagami Kangdo's knowledge, there is no danger in a short period of time, so I don't care. Turning on the system, Yagami Kangdo integrated what he had obtained in the past few days. They are the rewards for being the first person in the class, 100 bait. 1000 bait obtained by defeating Orochimaru and Tsunade, a total of 1110 bait. There is also the big head who gave the money yesterday, who contributed a total of 2.8 million huobi, which is a considerable wealth. After packing the 2 million coins, Yagami Kangdo called an Anbu member. Except when performing tasks, these Anbu members are no different from ordinary ninjas, and are also responsible for doing some trivial chores. After several days of struggle, the members of the Dark Division team belonging to Yagami Kangdo all accepted their fate. At first, there were people who were tantrums. How can a 9-year-old child be qualified to lead them? Anyway, at least they are all special chunin, the highest even has upper ninja, which is too insulting. But when they learned that Yagami Kangdo defeated the elites of the major wealthy families in Konoha village as a 9-year-old child, even Orochimaru and Tsunade Haim failed miserably. Immediately from indignant emotions to capitalized conviction. There is even a hint of happiness in my heart. The stronger the leader who leads oneself, the higher the survival rate of those who carry out the task seems to be. Don't look at Anbu's full name: Assassination Tactics Special Forces. Life and death must be put aside. But to be alive, no one wants to die. Others don't know for the time being, but the strength of Orochimaru and Tsunade Haim is obvious to all. The elite Junin also bears the name of Hokage disciple. Victory in the entire Konoha village is an extremely advanced existence. Even if they can defeat them, can I explain the strength of Yagami Kangdo? The most important thing is that Yagami Aoto has a good character. In the past few days, he would never rely on the position of the sub-commander to dictate to them. Also a handsome super lady. Under the circumstances of various factors, who can object to such a person serving as his own team captain? Captain, is there anything I need to do? A subordinate quickly came to Yagami Kangdo. There are a total of 2 million fire coins here, you can send them to Uncle Ichiro. Yagami Kangdo said. The subordinates wrapped up the package and left quickly without any hesitation. Miura Ichiro raised him from childhood to adulthood, and now that he has the ability, he should naturally repay. After everything was properly prepared, Yagami Kangdo plunged into the Konoha Forbidden Art Library again. I thought that after becoming the captain of the dark part, there were a lot of things to worry about. But in fact, under normal circumstances, the captain of the dark part has nothing to do at all. Trivial chores are naturally handled by the people below. Even if it is some major event, if you have to pass the 8 gods Kangdo, it is to make a final decision. Therefore, Yagami Kanto has plenty of time. He was immersed in the Forbidden Art Library for 7 days, which made Hizen Sarutobi, who had been paying attention secretly, very satisfied. However, when he couldn't go to the Forbidden Art Library to pretend, Yagami Kangdo felt itchy. Now that he is the captain of the dark part, he can't grow up fishing by the river. In particular, he changed to an inaccessible pond and started his fishing career again. It doesn't matter where you fish anyway, everything comes out of the special space provided by the system. System, start fishing. Soon, Yagami Kangdo rested on the beach chair in the posture of lying down as an uncle. A fishing rod appeared out of thin air, and the other end was thrown into the pond. First day. Ding! Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the experience and practice of 8-door Dunjia for 3 months. The next day. Ding! congratulations to the host, you have obtained 3 months of Immortal Body Experience training. Day 3. Ding, congratulations to the host, you have obtained a Physical Skill Promotion card. Ding, congratulations to the host, you have obtained 3 months of Ability training. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting Tsunade's photo. Time flies. A month passed quickly. Yagami Kangdu had been fishing for a whole month before he knew it. During this month, Uzumaki Kushina will deliver meals on time, and he will not be hungry enough for Yagami Kangdu. After all, Shangnan is also a human being, so it is absolutely impossible not to eat. However, sleeping or something can completely compress the time. With the current Iori Kangdu's physique, he can do it for a month without sleep. One bait can be fished for 8 hours. In the past, the physique was weak, and at most one bait was consumed a day. Now that his physique is strong, sitting for 16 hours in a row and taking a short rest is another day full of energy. Result, the original 1100 bait will take more than 3 years. Now it is greatly shortened, as long as 1.5 years is enough. Every bait represents an increase in strength, isn't it fragrant? System, open all bubbles. After accumulating the bubbles for so long, Yagami Kangdu did not rush to open it, just to wait for today. A single draw destroys a lifetime, 10 consecutive miracles. Boom. 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 The sound of bubbles breaking one after another sounded, accompanied by a system prompt. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 40 months of 8th-door Dunjia experience training. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 40 months of Immortal Body Experience training. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 20 months of White-Eyed Experience training. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the X4 Taiju promotion card. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for getting Tsunade Haime's photo. In the blink of an eye, all the bubble rewards came out. The white eyes and the immortal body have been greatly improved again. Relying on the physique promotion card, Baman Dunjia can also go to the next level. What the hell? And Tsunade Haime's photo. Holding the exquisite photo book in hand, isn't it the photos of Tsunade Haime wearing various costumes and poses? If this is published, the publishing business of Jiraiya's Intimacy Paradise may suffer a huge impact. But will Yagami Aoto publish this photo book? Good stuff, of course you have to hide it yourself.